It's going to be an uphill climb. Avalanche, again, they have a chance to do it, but you can see just how long they're taking, even thinking of their first ban, because, like you said, they know how important this draft is. Secret, immediate ban. That's kind of the difference between these two teams right now.
Yeah, and the immediate ban says to me that Team Secret wants one of the priorities that will be inevitably left open. Since you can only pick one on side A, this means Team Secret might be able to pick up that Lyra if they want it, or the Finn, or whatever to their heart's content. But Snow Avalanche will take the Adagio. This means Lyra and Samuel will both be open. Excuse me, not Samuel, Lance, but we do get this combination that is so volatile in terms of a pressure poke system.
And I really like the fact that Secret are drafting so quickly. When your opponent takes a long time, even just on their first ban, you know they don't necessarily have a solid plan in mind. By making these picks as quickly as you can, you are giving them even less time. It's only 30 seconds per pick. That's almost a full minute that Team Secret just denied Snow Avalanche to talk about what they want to deal with this.
We've seen the strategy too with our NA champions. TSM said the same thing. They don't like giving teams time to draft. They want to lock in as quick as possible to keep the other team on their feet, and that's exactly what they're doing with the Avalanche team. If this scarf comes through, this is a very, very unique draft. It's really going to be up to Team Secret to figure out what they want to play into it, but honestly, the Lyra and the Lance pick are going to do a lot of work into this glaive, into this scarf, just to be able to get on top of them and shut them down. If the Sky does come through, though, I am a big fan of that.
Yeah, this is a composition from Team Secret that is going to be able to really melt through a lot of the health bars on the side of Avalanche. Not much tankiness over there.
Well, with up against Team Secret in the finals, as we have consistently seen in Europe, this is really the El Clasico of the region.
Yeah, winter is coming once again. That Snow legacy living on in the challenger team that's come up through the ranks to place up against Team Secret here. Now, I feel that we do emphasize the fact that Snow Avalanche were a challenger team. They came up through the Evil 8, but consistently they performed at the highest level, and they're not a team to be underestimated here against Team Secret.
Absolutely not. But
Look at that fan vote.
Some of our viewers might be underestimating them a little bit. 20% seems a touch low for me.
Yeah.
I do feel like they've been performing quite well up until this point. Waldemar, I want to talk about what he's done already in this game real fast. He did something that Mouse Sports has been doing a lot this tournament, helping out with the jungle camps, does speed up your junglers' rotations, and you don't normally miss too much in the way of creeps if you're not against someone who's going to push super fast. The other big thing that we've got to talk about, Kvalifar is playing lane Lance.
This is one of the strengths that Team Secret always have, their ability to off-roll heroes, take the Lance into the lane, take him as a roam if you want, play the Lyra in the lane. We see them doing this all the time. They have so much flexibility within their team. Already Snow Avalanche looking for something here. Bastion will go in, Kvalifar gets knocked back, and he will be able to retreat down through that mustache, but should be able to get away. There's no real chase potential anymore from Snow Avalanche.
The cooldown on the Afterburn is so long in the early game. You saw it 16 seconds actually after it already ticked down a decent amount there for Contusik. So if you get away from that initial assault of your opponents, it's going to be quite easy just to keep your distance. So I like Kvalifar just bailing on that quite quickly. He didn't want to take any risks. Mowgli found some good harassment back, as you would expect from a Lyra.
Speaking of early game choices, Voldemar did help out with those camps. He's also gone for the boots early on. He knows there's pressure coming in from the Lance. He knows that Lyra can come round as well to try and take him down. Getting those boots early means that it's a little bit harder for you to last hit in the lane, and a little bit harder for you to push out against the Lance, but you're a lot safer.
It also gives you the potential for the outplay of the Impale much more easily. I mean, it's not quite as good as if like a Taka has loads of key stacks, and 90% of the time you're going to be able to dodge the Impale with that, but it certainly can help, and you already know that there's going to be a lot of pressure coming down. Mowgli on Lyra is likely to be spending a lot of time in the lane. Right now, Snow Avalanche know that they need to be careful. They're rotating together quite a lot. There's so much pressure that can come out of Team Secret's lineup early on. Kvalifar missing that Impale, though.
He has got the Imperial Sigil for the movement speed buff, and Kentisik will take a forward barrage to the face. Team Secret able to get out of that one, but Snow Avalanche showing how well they can react to some of these Secret plays.
Yeah, and I really like the way that the draft played out for Team Secret, because by taking Lyra and Lance in their first rotation, they kind of guaranteed a Sky to follow up, and it's a flex, right? And you can see early in the game that Kvalifar being relatively tanky and actually somewhat mobile in the lane is helping a lot. Bash.
Good Impale there onto Bastion. He's going to take a huge amount of pain. Voldemar trying to return the favor onto Kvalifar. Palmator is joining the fray as well. Going to see if Kentisic's in that bush. He's not. And they will just back away for now. Kentisik is going to join up, see what he can do with this Snow Avalanche team. to see if they can take Secret down in the early game. Secret played this one very well early on. Good dodge from the Impale. They're going to go on to Mowgli, who's got no energy at all, but does have those boots to get himself away and will be able to escape for now.
Kvalifar is doing a very good job of being the point man for his team. He's standing in the front, stopping any engagement really from coming out of Avalanche. At this early stage in the game, if Kentusik tries to dive on the backline and pick someone off, the damage out of Palmatoro and Kvalifar, if that person is Mowgli, is going to be way too much. So Mowgli, by virtue of this, can be more aggressive than maybe lots of Lyras would want to be before Arcane Passage is skilled. And it's really giving them so much more pressure than I think a lot of people would expect from the lineup that Team Secret is running. This is part of the genius of them as a team, right? Like, the flexibility isn't just good at catching your opponents off guard. Every slight variation you make in how you play a team composition is going to give you different strengths and weaknesses. And right now, Team Secret's strengths are doing a great job of getting them this early lead. You see Kvalifar leaping forward there, but not going to connect with anything. Gold very even for the time being.
We are only 4 minutes in, though, Action Jackson. It's got a long time for this game to swing either way. It looks like Kvalifar's building up towards a tension bow on that lance. It's one of two builds we commonly see on lance. Some people go for the Sorrow Blade for a bit more consistent later game damage. Tension bow, though, very strong in the early portion of the match.
I really like Tension Bow here as well, because you're up against Adagio, as well as that Scarf, and there's going to be a ton of late...
Oh, the Impale and Sebastian is going to be first blood for Team Secret. That was so superbly done.
Yeah, Kvalifar did a great job of sticking near enough that he could go for the Impale if something like a Forward Barrage did some work, and they were able to coordinate that one. Team Secret find themselves the first blood. I really think this is what they need to be doing. It's not just that it's good that they are doing it, right? Their composition functions much better early.
Kvalifar's going to get Afterburn back towards the turret. He stands on the goop as well. Kvalifar should force no. Avalanche return the favor incredibly quickly.
That was a little bit too aggressive for my liking. You've got to remember, Kvalifar, before level 6, does not have combat role. He's not going to be able to reposition as easily as he might like. And Kentusik is going a very damage-centric build very quickly. So he's going to actually be able to chunk down Kvalifar quite quickly, especially when Kvalifar is building shield, not armor. You know, you need the shield to deal with Bash. His harass early, just without even getting a lot of crystal power, is a little bit annoying. And Waldemar, of course, on the Scarf. So, yeah, nice rotation out of Kentusik. Snow Avalanche answering Team Secret decently here. That said, what I really want to see is Team Secret putting on more pressure with Palmatoro and Mowgli. Right now, what they're doing is extremely efficient, right? Like, they're making sure they always get their back camps. They're not missing any of their rotations. But in this kind of a game, if you're just playing par for par, you're going to fall behind if you're not applying some pressure, focusing more on your enemy's back camps, for example.
Especially with an early game hero like that Lance, you know, you do fall behind in damage you get later on. Voldemar's going to put some pain on towards Mowgli, who does just dodge away from it. I want to talk about itemization quickly while we've got a brief lull in the action. Voldemar looks like he's building up towards an Eve of Harvest and went for the early reflex block here.
I really like the early reflex block. Right now, if you get impaled, it's a bad situation, as you can see here.
He doesn't block that one out. It does take the Impale to the face. Death from above will come out as well. Kentusik knocks Kvalifar back. And Team Secret, the aggressors here, Snow Avalanche, able to weather the storm. It's a bit of a hurricane coming out from Team Secret, but the Avalanche could come from around the corner. There's the Impale once again. Kvalifar looking for the kill. One more auto onto Kentusik's not enough because the fountain comes out from Bastion. Snow Avalanche really playing this defensive game, standing back, trying to get the long-range damage down, and they're looking for the re-engage. Kvalifar is there. Dragon's Breath comes out. Voldemar is going to try and focus down Palmatoro, who will fall. Kvalifar still alive, but Mowgli the target. That's two members of Secret down. Kvalifar, is he going to go for this one? He's looking for something. He's looking for the Impale, but he misses it off towards the side. It's not time for rocking. It's not time for rolling. He's still only level 5. The Afterburn comes down.
That was an ace.
And it's an ace for Snow Avalanche, only 7 minutes in.
Okay, let's break that down a little bit. The initial trade that came through from Team Secret was absolutely superb. Waldemar chose not to use the reflex block. I would imagine, you know, maybe it was just that he didn't have time to react, but Kvalifar, by virtue of getting that route down, forced Waldemar back very quickly, and they were able to take a very good trade early on. Now, what I would have preferred here is after that fountain got popped right about here, for them just to leave, right? You don't really need to keep the pressure on, especially if you notice Waldemar just hit level 6, right? So if you fight in a confined space, Dragon's Breath, yes, it's not a great ability for damage in the early game, but it is going to be significant enough in a situation like this, and Palmatoro doesn't Surrey strike as quickly as he needed to get out of there. So Team Secret, I would say that's quite an uncharacteristic mistake mistake of them to make. They really pushed their advantage too far.
Incredible amount of patience coming out from Snow Avalanche, though. They had the discipline to stand back, wait for that level 6 to come on towards the Scarf, and then being able to engage. They got the turret off that as well with the H-buff minion push. They're able to get a huge gold lead, 2,000 8 minutes in.
Yeah, that's very nice for Snow Avalanche's team, especially because you've got the Scarf potential in the late game, something you've got to worry about. Palmatora might be able to contest, but if Glaive and Bash do a good job of sitting near Scarf, that could actually be quite difficult. If you Surrey Strike into a Verse of Judgment, it's big enough that you can't really get out very easily. Similarly, Kvalifar
once again jumps in, will get knocked back. There's the burst as well to try and take them down. Kvalifar's low, and Snow Avalanche are going to focus on the Lance, try and take him down, but he's going to run away. Palmatora now the target, takes a tiny arcade passage away. There's the afterburn, and it will knock the Sky back. The Sky is falling, and Team Secret on the retreat once again. Have to try and get away from this Snow Avalanche onslaught.
Yeah, again, I mean, I feel like Team Secret's trying to force fights because theoretically, yes, that's what they want to be doing, but after you've made the mistake you did previously, I think you have to be a bit more careful about the ones that you're taking. You got to have vision. You need to know that you have a numbers advantage. You know, there's so many factors that come into picking a good fight in Vainglory, and if you don't really factor in any of them, then it's going to be a tough one to win. Let's have a look at the items real quick, though. Waldemar's actually gone for a very early Frostburn this game, which I think is quite an interesting choice. A lot of the time, although I don't like Frostburn much anyway, I think it's especially problematic if you're going against a Lyra, who can just Arcane Passage on top of you, slow you down with Bright Bulwark, and Kvalifar as well. You know, you can just jump in with Combat Roll in the Impale. But I do think it allows for targets to stay in attack range of Contusik, and Contusik has a lot of damage right now. So in actuality, what Waldemar is doing is he's shoring up an element of weakness in his team's composition, that being that Scarf doesn't ramp up until much later, by augmenting Contusik on the Glaive, who's actually very good early on.
I think the strength of it as well lies in the fact that we're not seeing that many Impales land anymore. You know, Voldemar's doing a great job of dodging them, and if you can keep that Lance in the midst of your team, yes, he's got auto attacks, but he's really not doing that much unless he's rooting you, unless he's keeping you locked away. So by having that Frostburn, they can make sure they're dictating the pace of the fight and stop Team Secret being able to disengage and re-engage as they like.
You know, one thing that you've got to keep in mind is that Team Secret, this is a team with an incredibly deep hero pool. You could call it a hero ocean, right? But something to pay attention to is the fact that Kvalifar hasn't played Lance at all this championship. He played him maybe once or twice, I think, during the spring championship, and he hasn't played him at all during the main season. So how practiced can he realistically be on Lance, in addition to all the practice that he's putting in on many of the other heroes that Team Secret are want to pull out? I feel like the Impales that he's missing are not ones that necessarily need to be missed. Yes, there's some good dodging coming out of Snow Avalanche, but I have to wonder, is he picking this up, you know, appropriately with enough practice put in? I think that what the comp does and the way that they're playing it is great, but you've got to be able to execute.
That you have. And at the moment, Team Secret not able to execute that game plan. We saw how quickly they went through picks and bans as well. They knew exactly what they wanted to play into Snow Avalanche, but the Avalanche has started rolling down that mountain, and maybe Team Secret will be dethroned, as Tasty Bacon said earlier on. They are looking for their Grand Slam. Of course, they will have won 4 splits in a row: winter, spring, summer, autumn as well. Well, yeah, they won the first autumn. Winter is coming for them at the moment because Snow Avalanche are looking for the fight. Kvalifar has to try and dodge away, uses that roll to get himself away towards safety, and Snow Avalanche decide they don't want to engage just quite yet.
Have a look at the cooldowns on Mowgli's abilities real quick. You saw about a 10-second cooldown on Imperial Sigil there, in addition to quite a significant 16 seconds on Bright Bulwark. There's a big window of opportunity for Snow Avalanche to engage whenever those are off cooldown, and they were clearly thinking about it, but Team Secret's being smart. They're sitting near their turret. They know that they've kind of conceded too much of an advantage early on, and they're playing around that nicely. I like the fact that Avalanche is getting vision deeply in Team Secret's jungle. I think this is going to stop Team Secret from their easiest avenue back into the game, which is finding a catch. But the question remains, like, what's Team Secret's avenue back here, right? Like, what's the silver lining? I think it needs to be Mowgli getting his own vision down, sort of at a shallow level in their jungle, and just trying to find a lot of burst onto one target, probably Bash or Contusik.
That's exactly what they'll be looking for. Look at the level disadvantage, though, as well for Kvalifar. He's level 8, about to ping level 9. Voldemar's already halfway to level 11. That is a huge lead in experience for the Scarf over the Lance. And Team Secret not quite able to engage. We haven't seen them in this position for a long time. It's been so long since they've been properly behind in a game, you know? Even against Mouse yesterday, it was pretty even games.
Last time I remember seeing Team Secret struggle like this was actually against Gangstar Cerberus in the Evil 8. They were able, in one of the 2 games where they struggled, because they actually struggled in 2 games in the series, to come back from a ridiculous deficit. So I know for a fact that Team Secret are capable of doing so. Sometimes the fights just line up in a way for them to just make the outplays. I want to talk about Avalanche a little bit more though, real quick, and Build specifically. Yeah. Eve of Harvest on Waldemar now is going to really allow for him to deal with Palmatoro when Palmatoro tries to get on the back line, which is already hard, right? We've already talked about that. Getting through Reverse of Judgment, getting through Glaive and his afterburns can be challenging, but when you've got an Eve of Harvest on Waldemar too, it becomes even worse. I also think it's notable that Bash went for early War Treads this game, before he even, I believe, picked up his own reflex block. He doesn't mind if Kvalifar jumps on top of him, because Waldemar's so far ahead that he can deal good damage already. So he didn't need the reflex block. What he needed was War Treads to boost Waldemar into a position where he could win the fight, even if it meant trading his own life.
Most definitely. It's what you talked about, Snow Avalanche looking for the engages, and if they can kite back out of an Imperial Sigil and Bright Bulwark and then re-engage with the War Treads, it can be incredibly powerful. Looking at item spikes across the board as well, there's 3 full Crystal Power items on Voldemar, only 2 on Palmatoro.
Yeah, and actually, I do want to talk a little bit more about items, although we might have a fight kicking off here.
Quite possibly. Kensick's looking for the engage here. Cooldowns have been used by Team Secret. Palmatoro's going to jump in on towards Bash and Voldemar off towards the side, gets stunned up. Mowgli doing a huge amount of work off towards the backline. Dragon's Breath will come through along with the fountain, and they manage to survive. Snow Avalanche with minimal health bars are going to clean up Team Secret here. Kvalifar trying to roll his way away, but all he's doing is rolling down the hill alongside the Avalanche that sweeps him off his feet.
Man, that was some discipline on the fountain out of Bash. He held that so long. I also want to touch on, and I'll bring it up actually when it comes up, Kvalifar did a little bit of a weird Githian wall in a second here. You see Palmatoro doing a lot of damage on the back lines, but he's not quite able to finish up Waldemar. And here, this Githian wall, right? That Githian wall was the opportunity for Palmatoro to say, okay, the fight's over. We're too far behind. They've been knocked away from me. I can leave and stop the ace. He didn't do that. So in any case, Snow Avalanche, make it happen. I wanted before that fight to touch on Kentusik's build real quick. The Tornado Trigger is an interesting item for me.
Definitely.
I feel like if he'd been able to pick this up maybe 3 or 4 minutes earlier, I would have really liked it. As it stands, it was a bit questionable, but he did make it work. Similarly questionable, the Tension Bow coming out at 15.5 minutes. That said, if they want to burst a target down, it is going to add to their reach just a little bit.
At the moment, the only real problem is Palmatoro if he survives for the duration of a fight. We saw in that last fight, you know, Voldemar, if he gets the Dragon's Breath off, Eve is going to heal him a huge amount through that alongside the Fountain, and the Fountain control from Bastion was absolutely on point. I think being able to jump onto that Sky with Afterburn, knock him back, and then just get 2 or 3 auto attacks down to take him out is exactly what this Kensick build is trying to do.
Talking about builds again, Palmatoro is 1 full item behind Waldemar right now. And as a Sky into a Scarf, that's a very bad situation to be into. I maintain that Palmatoro in the late game can win these 1 versus 1 situations, can make the outplays, because Sky is a hero that is good at that. But I'm not sure Team Secret is going to get there if Avalanche keep applying the amount of pressure that they have been. You've got to remember as well, Lance kind of falls off later, especially when you build a Tension Bow. Kentusik maybe disagreeing with that statement to a certain extent, but actually Snow Avalanche, they're able to start off the Kraken right now. Team Secret are going to be hard-pressed to challenge.
There's only flares on Kvalifar. This might actually just be the Kraken going across towards Snow Avalanche. They haven't got vision on it. Kraken's going to fall very, very quickly to that Scarf, and they will take it down. The base already broken, of course, for Team Secret. Only those crystal turrets remain for them. And the question now comes up, are they going to lose their first game in this best of 5?
It's looking incredibly likely, but as I said, Team Secret has had some pretty crazy comebacks before. Maybe they can do it again. Kvalifar sitting in the TSM special bush, but I think with Mowgli's movement there, he kind of gave away.
I wonder if someone might be in this bush, guys.
Yeah, that was a little bit dicey from Mowgli. If they wanted to go for it, I would have just held back and then portaled in after Kvalifar went to the engage. Speaking of
comes Mowgli into the fight. They're going to jump in Kvalifar as well. Death from above comes down, but here's the burst. Mowgli's dead, and already 1 Team Secret member's fallen. The second will go down as Kvalifar gets chased off towards the side. It's up to Palmatoro, a 1v3 outplay. You talked about the 1v1. Well, let's see the 1v3. Palmatoro cannot do it. Snow Avalanche take the ace. The Kraken pushes the base. And it's going to be 1-0 for Team Snow over Team Secret here in this best of 5. I'm pretty sure that's the first time I've seen Team Secret lose the first game of a live championships final.
You know what the most interesting part of that loss to me is that I don't feel like it was draft related. And I feel like Team Secret has lost in the draft a few times. Like, for example, one of their games against Mousesports that they lost during the regular season, they picked triple melee and got crushed by range, right? So occasionally they lose in draft. This game, they did not lose in draft, as far as I'm concerned at least. I feel like they actually lost from misplays.
Yeah.
And maybe there's something to be said for nerves on Team Secret's side. Every time you win a championship, the next one becomes even more incredible to win, and that puts a lot of pressure on you. This could be their 4th, or it could be the end of their streak.
Quite possibly. It's a very difficult situation now for Team Secret trying to get back into the action. We're going to hand it over to our analyst desk to break down game 1, but we'll be right back with game 2.
They don't listen to the advice, but that's okay. They got styles on their own. They've gotten here on their own without my help. So Team Secret does ban out the Lyra, which means that Snow Avalanche is going to have a number of options, whether they prioritize not a throwaway pick, but maybe a non-popular pick so they can get some more priorities for themselves, or maybe they just get rid of something they don't want to see Team Secret running at all.
And once again, though, a lot of time taken by Snow Avalanche. Very quick selection from Team Secret for the bans, but it is going to be Samuel. That leaves the Adagio open for Secret. Again, flex pick can go either lane, jungle, or roam. Definitely would prefer to see it in the lane. But it's even in the jungle, it's not quite as bad. I really don't want to see the Adagio roam here because I feel like while Mowgli is great on this, unless they end up running like the Saw push comp, it's still putting Kvalifar on this Adagio just gives him so much power and control over the lane.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do see the Lance coming in on the side of Snow Avalanche. Avalanche? Kind of goes together a little bit. But we are looking for Bastion to pick up his hero. These guys say that they listen to him. It's one of their biggest strengths. So we'll see what he pulls in for the second pick here into this Adagio. And it looks like it just might be the Kroll. Kroll and Lance together. Actually a very volatile combo. Usually when they're on the other side, you feel pretty bad for Kroll. But when you mix them together, the Adagio is going to have a lot to worry about.
Yeah, the Lance has so much crowd control. It just increases the ability of the Kroll to stick onto whatever target he chooses. But picking the Kroll early, it leaves you open to something like this Kestrel. Kestrel is so strong into Kroll.
And I actually am a little bit nervous for Team Secret in this draft because if they close this Avalanche draft out with a Scarf, I actually think that is an insane pick into this Team Secret comp. Scarf counters Kestrel super hard. Adagio cannot move out of it. They didn't ban him. This is the hero that Team Secret has a hard time dealing with. I really want to see them lock this in because if they do, I'm feeling Snow Avalanche very well may take game 2 as well.
Yeah, and not only that, but you also the Finn, very slow, can't really move out of the way of those Spitfires. They get stuck on the goop for a while. This is a very strong draft from Snow Avalanche.
Reflex blocks, right? Like, you know, is the reflex block going to come out of Waldemar? Is Bastion going to get a good Crucible off? I don't know. I agree with the analyst desk here. I feel like this draft was very risky from Team Secret. They should have probably seen the Scarf coming. And, you know, Avalanche, if last game was anything to go by, are kind of favored in my opinion in this game.
I have to say, I agree with you. If this game was the first game of the series, I'd give it over to Team Secret just because I think strategically their play tends to be better. But Snow Avalanche really showed up in the first game, and it looks like actually Voldemar's going to take the Treant this time. So he's getting that little bit of extra experience under his belt, be able to get a bit of gold as well, and he doesn't miss any farm in the lane.
Yeah, actually getting that healing camp means that he's going to be back up to full even though he tanked the camp anyway. I kind of like it. It lets Avalanche push up and maybe go for an exchange early on. They've got to be careful not to get hit by a very big quibble, but aside from that, I think they can 2 versus 2, so long as maybe a Glimmer Shot is dodged. Team Secret, they do rotate down Kvalifar quite quickly there. I think they were apprehensive about Snow going for the aggressive play. This is going to buy them a little bit of time just to get Kvalifar back up to lane, get some more farm under his belt.
We've seen quite a few different Kroll builds throughout this tournament. Actually, good impale there from Bastion onto Kvalifar. Oh, Bastion, please, come on. It's not all about you. Sometimes you have to let those Spitfires land as well. Does Githian wall Kvalifar away from the damage coming out from Voldemar?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about the fact that Bash and his teammates like to listen to him, but Bash needs to make sure he's telling them what he's going to do, right? That was a little bit dicey. There's another route, though, this time.
This time the Goop will land along with that Spitfire. Kvalifar does have the Gift of Fire to heal himself back up. Mowgli's going to come in as well, so they should be okay for now. Bastion very low, actually. and will have to back away from Mowgli as he pushes himself forward into that mustache bush.
Mowgli's just a deterrent here. I don't think there's any real chance of finding a kill unless Waldemar massively overextends, or Bash, I suppose, but it's unlikely given where he's standing.
Oh, Mowgli's going for it. He's popping the boots. Has the polite company. Will have the quibble as well. Not going to connect, though, because Waldemar uses his own sprint boots to get away.
I also feel like Mowgli's initiation of that quibble was a little bit late. Here comes another fight.
Impale onto Cavalifar. Will he be able to escape? No! Goop takes him down. Bash and falls as well. Palmatoro joining the fray at exactly the right moment.
Yeah, it's just going to be the one-for-one trade. Not a bad exchange for either team by virtue of that, but I do feel like Team Secret, after how long that initial trade went, probably could have expected Kentusik to be nearby. I think Palmatoro picking up an early kill is something to take note of, though. We've seen a lot of very strong Kestrel play. If he can get ahead early, maybe he can be enough of a threat.
That's a big quibble. Impale comes out as well. Kentusik has to run away from the fight. Now, they talked a little bit in the analyst desk segment about how strong this Scarf Cruel combination is. Do you think that Team Secret can build a way to counteract it, or do you think it's all about that strategic play in team fights?
That's a tough call. So if I was Palmatoro, I might consider steering away from what's been a very common build in the breaking point, and I would just go for something that allows me to get stealth up as frequently as possible so that I can try and go around the edges of the fight and maybe burst down Waldemar with crits. Kentusik.
Oh, that's a lot of damage coming out from Cavalifar. He's only got a Crystal Bit and double Swift Shooters there. That's just a lot of pain coming down from the Agent of Wrath. Bastion doing a good job of counter-jungling himself just to try and take some stuff away from Team Secret. Talking about heavy weapon power, a build actually we used to see come out of Voldemar a lot on the Kestrel was double Sorrow Blade into Shatterglass. Do you think that's an option here for Palmatoro?
I certainly think it's an option. I don't necessarily think it's the best one because later on, hang on,
Voldemar, Glimmer Shot after Glimmer Shot connecting, but not enough damage to take that Scarf down.
I certainly think that double Sorrow Blade into Shatterglass is a build that Palmatoro could go, but it's not the one that I would go. What I want to see is an early focus on damage and crit with a later focus on something like the breaking point, right? Because past a certain point, the fights are going to go long, and breaking point is insane on Kestrel. But I feel like Team Secret wants to win fights earlier on. You know, they want to maybe get Mowgli level 6 very quickly, and then immediately go for those forced accord plays. So just getting an early Sorrow Blade is going to be the best way to reliably get damage down onto Waldemar early here.
Already Team Secret looking for a bit of a push on towards this turret. Voldemar and Bastion are quite low. A couple of Glimmer Shots would take them out, but Team Secret just focusing down the turret as much as they can. And we do have a pause coming out.
More of like a meta level is how do you feel like maybe Look at Me acting as an actual coach for once is doing for Snow Avalanche? Because I think that's super effective for them.
Oh, incredibly so. The fact that he's played up against Team Secret so many times and has had the experience even at live stages against them can be very, very strong. I mean, Voldemar's going to survive, man. You need to have confidence in Voldemar, you know? He's fine. He's able to get away.
I didn't there. But no, I mean, good job by Waldemar to get out of that situation. Team Secret, with that back, can maybe pressure the turret somewhat. Kentusik doesn't exactly have, like, from Hell's Heart yet, so he can't set up an initiation too easily. We'll see if Team Secret can actually get this one down.
Yeah,
Voldemar's
they'll be able to get it down. Voldemar is back, but Secret will back away. They've already stretched this gold lead to 1,800. A lot of that sitting on Cavalifar, sitting on 48 CS only to the 36 of Voldemar, so he's got that little bit of a lead. Now he's picked up Voldemar current, but he's also picked up a spear to the face. Githyan Wall comes down, Kentusik's going for the chase. Voldemar's going to step forward, good cribble on towards that Scarf, and Kentusik is all kinds of dead. Gets taken out, he was stuck in no man's land between his team and the kill, wasn't able to take anyone down.
I don't really understand that play from Avalanche. Yes, you traded early, and maybe that makes you feel kind of good about your ability to fight, but even though we've been saying that Avalanche has a huge advantage, we've been saying it because later in the game, Waldemar's going to do too much damage and not be able to get jumped on. This early into the game, when you run into two bushes, which could have people in them, yes, you get Cavalifar locked down early, but Palmatoro is still there doing damage. Mowgli, this early in the game, is doing like a third of Waldemar's health with a quibble. You can't afford to make that fight.
No, definitely not. I'm slightly tilted because we saw there for the entire fight, Palmatoro had one shot, one kill, and Voldemar was on hardly any health. I was just like, just go for it. Just just take the shot sometimes.
No, I actually think that would have been a bit of a misplay, frankly, because I think Kuntusik needed to die first.
No, after Kuntusik was dead.
Okay.
Like, they were taking the minion mine, they were taking the tree ends.
Voldemar!
Voldemar's going to take a lot of damage, has come back from the Sanctuary, but here comes Cavalifar. One more auto. Not quite got the burning fire on him to take him down. However, Team Secret looking like their dominance. Yeah, he's got it again. What's he doing, man?
Right there, the real outplay is to fire it onto the Sanctuary. Right as you know he's about to recall.
That would have been next level stuff. I'm not sure if our spectator would have been able to follow that one, but he would have tried his darndest. Kentusik's going to take a lot of pain here once again. Burning fire, glimmer shot, fountain used, and Cavalifar now the target. So much pain, but a great stun out of the Impale. One shot, one kill. Bastion doesn't quite go down.
Stop, drop,
fire will burn away. He hasn't got the combat roll.
15.
He survives. 15 HP. Keeps no Avalanche in this game.
They nearly dived him too. Voldemar, he's going for a Dragon's Breath right now.
The turret has fallen though, and now Team Secret are going to chase him away. Scarf going the way of the dinosaurs, extinct on the Halcyon Fold for now. We'll go back to the Sanctuary once again, and Team Secret take 2 turrets and the lead.
Avalanche really threw away so much by going for that fight earlier, and it's continuing to bite them in the butt right now. Team Secret, one thing that everyone would say about this team is if you make a mistake against them, it is absolutely brutal. You just can't do it. And Avalanche did in a big way. You can see it paying off for Team Secret right now. Now, I want to talk about Palmatoro. We were talking earlier about Sorrow Blade.
Yep.
I love that he went for this. Look at how much damage he was doing with the glimmer shots on the Waldemar earlier on. If he had a breaking point in that last fight because he was hitting the turret, not heroes, he wouldn't have had any stacks. Maybe Waldemar does something there.
War Treads on Mowgli very early on as well to try and get that chase on towards the Scarf. We saw the Force Accord does connect with the Reflex block. No Crucible yet on Bastion, so he's not going to be able to get that second Reflex out. However, Force Accord is on a long cooldown.
All right, Kuntusik looks like he's going for a breaking point. And again, I feel like this is just a bit of a weird decision. If you can get onto maybe Palmatoro without Mowgli being there to deal with it, it could be okay, I suppose, because weakness stacks will stack quicker because he's building some attack speed. But that still leaves Cavalifar, who's a massive damage threat. I mean, this only deals with one person. Building tank, he deals with 2.
It's always the risk when you let Adagio go through, you know? He's so strong even by himself, and then if you've got a carry with him, he can buff that carry up. It's something we used to see a long time ago, you know? Adagio could just be a double buff comp. You just buff someone up, you get them massive, and just be undefeatable.
And, you know, you mentioned the buff composition. We haven't really highlighted this fact yet, but you have to remember that Kestrel's Glimmer Shots count as basic attacks.
Yes.
And Adagio's buff works on basics. So when you've got a Sorrow Blade plus the buff, the Agent of Wrath, you're dealing ridiculous damage every single time you fire those off, and you can use them very quickly as well.
It's what almost took Bastion down before. It was the Glimmer Shot that connected, but that Burning Fire took him down to 15 HP. Next time, maybe we'll take him all the way out. We're going to see what looks to be a breaking point coming out from Palmatoro next as well. Mowgli starting to get that Hourglass, starting to get some cooldown reduction to get those Force Accords off more often.
Shatterglass just got picked up on Waldemar. Now, this is an interesting item. I don't necessarily dislike it as much as, say, the breaking point. I think there's a good argument for it and a bad argument for it. Look at this, though. The flank might come in here.
From behind. Is he going to go for it? They're looking for it. From Hell's Heart on Cavalifar. He's the target. There's the death of the Dragon's Breath as well, but the burst will come out. 3-man Force Accord will pull them in. Cavalifar running for his life. Snow Avalanche looking for the chase, but Voldemar takes a quibble to the face and will fall. And Team Secret pick up 1 kill and are looking for the turret as well.
Things are falling apart so rapidly right now for Avalanche. Look at the gold disparity. It's 8,000 at 10 minutes in. That happened out of nowhere very fast.
I don't want to be mean, but it's 7,000.
It's 7. Caster math, man.
Yeah, caster math. You are not Shinyin. You can't do that math that quickly.
No, I cannot. She's studying doctoring, much like you. She's smart. I'm not.
I think you're smart, especially in the action jacket. Team Secret playing intelligently this game to get themselves ahead this early on. Something we didn't see them do in the last matchup, and now they're showing us what they can do. They've only got 4 kills to 1, but because of the way they've taken turrets, taken gold mines, taken minion mines, they are so far ahead.
I mean, I also want to talk about the itemization that's now coming through. We have the Atlas Pauldron on Mowgli, which is going to really shut down Kuntusik's ability to get large amounts of weakness stacks onto people. And now Palmatoro has his own breaking point, which, considering the fact that he's never been the main target in these last couple of fights, it's always Cavalifar, I think is going to start to pay dividends. I like that he went for a second, like I said earlier on, but, you know, this is going to be all about Avalanche just barely holding on for the next 6 or 7 minutes. And at that point, maybe they start to look for fights.
They have started to build so that they can hold on, though. There's a Crucible on Bastion, there's a Reflex block on Waldemar, there's a Reflex block on Kentasik as well. Kentasik actually going for the Journey boots to look for that chase even more. I think it's a little bit weak. I think he needs to be getting
You're not chasing.
more tankiness, yeah.
You're not really chasing in these fights. Avalanche, in that exchange, yes, they were going for Kvalifar at the end, but Palmator was still full and would have just probably 2 versus 3'd afterwards. I honestly think just more tankiness, man. Kentasik needs to be a front line with Bash.
One weakness we've seen from Team Secret time and time again is they get into this sort of position and they just wait for the Kraken. Like, they'll try and look for fights, but they're very happy not to enter the base of Snow Avalanche and wait for that Kraken to spawn. The question is, if they do that, will Snow Avalanche get into a position where they can fight around the Kraken?
Precisely. I think it's actually a little bit too risky to just all-out wait for Kraken. I think Team Secret needs to push their advantage whilst they can and look for those kinks in the armor where maybe they can go for maybe probably just speed to stay in their base. We do have a Frostburn out of Kvalifar. Now that's interesting, the Vein Crystal turrets or a pick. Snow Avalanche, the plan for them should bring to me. There's not that many easy ways of applying it on an Adagio, but maybe he can actually slow down Kentasik when he tries to get on the back line. Here comes Mowgli, though.
Bastion trying to roll his way away, but doesn't really have the escape here. Mowgli should be able to get him with a Quibble as well. They decide not to go for the chase. Force the cord brings him in. That's a little bit of a waste there, Mowgli. Not quite the king of the swingers with that anchor toss. Not going to be able to take that Bastion down.
Yeah, that was an interesting play. I feel like maybe the coordination just wasn't there from Team Secret. If they'd stuck closer, sure. But also Bastion, I believe, could have reflex blocked with Crucible. Yeah. I didn't quite catch if he had it or if maybe just came off cooldown.
He had it up. He had it up.
Yeah, I think he chose not to. I don't think that was like a failure to react because he saw that Kvalifar and Palmator had backed away a little bit. So, yeah, smart decision from Bastion to hold on to that. Mowgli may have been trying to force it. That's the other explanation for why he went for that play. But I think more likely it was just Palmator and Kvalifar wanting to go get some more farm, get some more items. Kvalifar, I think, kind of needs a broken myth. The other thing that I wanted to touch on with regards to Frostburn is that it does slow down his damage path, and yes, Palmator is doing a lot, but Kvalifar also could be, right? Like if he went for the broken myth second, so I think it's an interesting choice. I don't know if it's the best plan here for Kvalifar.
Well, with that gold mine pickup, the gold lead has spread to over 8,000. I can do the maths. Bastion jumps in, though, and Team Secret looking for the fight from Hell's Heart will connect onto Palmator. Kvalifar takes a lot of pain. Here comes the Dragon's Breath, but Snow Avalanche are falling to the winds. The fountain has been used. Kvalifar still alive. Once again, gets impaled, gets knocked out of the burst. But too much and too strong from Team Secret. They take down 2 members of Snow Avalanche.
I hate to be that guy, but if Kentasik was tankier right there and lived just a little bit longer, maybe Waldemar could have found some better opportunities. I do think Waldemar does need a broken myth because he would have had a lot of stacks in that fight. It wasn't the focus. But yeah, I mean, good exchange from Team Secret. Even though Palmatoro got stunned up early, which is, I would think, the better target for Snow Avalanche, they were able to just position around Mowgli and play around Finn, who's excellent in those clump fights.
10,000 the lead now for Team Secret. Only 14 minutes in. It's less than a minute before that Kraken spawns. Team Secret are going to rotate round, look towards that gold mine. We've seen one thing Team Secret is incredibly good at doing is taking the gold mine just as Kraken spawns to get that last 1 or 2 gold out of it. It's not important, but it's min-maxing, which is so vital at this level of play.
To be honest, right now, you can see that Mowgli and Kvalifar are quite, well, Mowgli especially, is quite close to hitting level 12. You do get some experience off of the gold mine. Maybe that pushes them over the edge. Every inch counts, Sona. That's how this game works.
Right, they're going to go down towards it now. They've got 10 seconds to take it. Palmatoro's not there, so I actually think perhaps they won't take the gold mine at this time. Hasn't really got a huge amount in it, probably about 90 to 100 gold, but they decide to leave it. Kraken is going to spawn, and Team Secret are looking for a Team Secret special.
Contraption's an interesting choice here from Mowgli. It's not as if he's got a Taka to reveal, and yes, setting up lots of vision before Kraken spawns is obviously great, but maybe he could have just built more tanky and then got some scout traps.
Bash. The War Treads come in. Bash does have the combat roll. He'll roll, jump across the wall, but going to get taken out by Palmatoro, who is ridiculous. 7-1. All 7 kills sitting on that Kestrel, and now Team Secret are going to start that Kraken. Speaking of contraption, does give you that cooldown reduction, so we do see Finn's building it quite a lot to get that force to cord off cooldown. Kraken is going to go down here, and Snow Avalanche have to find a way to defend those last 2 crystal turrets.
I'm not sure they're going to be able to hear Sona. It's going to be very hard-pressed. Waldemar, especially if he gets caught.
Oh, he gets spotted out. Waldemar, he's not going far. He'll get taken down by Kvalifar. And now Team Secret can push in for the next 30 seconds with this Kraken.
That, I think, is game. I think Waldemar getting caught there is honestly game. There's way too much pressure coming through from Team Secret right now, and you need Scarf. Scarf is the only one you need, with maybe one other person, right, in order to be able to deal with this push at all, because you have the good damage onto the Kraken, you have the wave clear for the minions. Without him, Contusic and Bastion can do nothing.
Well, there's only 7 seconds left on Voldemar. He might be back up in time. No crystal, no reflex block use. Yes, Kraken is full. You are totally correct about that, Action Jackson, but Snow Avalanche will not give up without a fight. They're going to look for it. The first tower's going to fall so incredibly quickly. Mowgli takes some pain from Hell's Heart's going to be used, but look at that. Kedusik is dead by the time it comes back to him. He throws out the boomerang, but it gets taken down, and now Bastion and Voldemar have to try and defend. The Kraken pushing in. As you say, Action Jackson, you called it just 30 seconds ago. Team Secret are going to take the Vein Crystal. You activated their trap card by taking them down in game 1, and now they'll take you out in game 2.
I mean, that game was equally as impressive to me as Avalanche's game was in game 1. I feel like Team Secret, maybe they had some nerves coming up onto the stage, but they've worked past that. We were worried about the draft. I still think the draft was a bit risky, but if you feel confident, sometimes it can mean a lot to you to beat those odds, right? And Team Secret definitely did that. You can see on your screen, Snow Avalanche, they're having this meeting with Look At Me. They still have 1 point in the series. We've kind of reset. It's now like a best of 3. Either team could take this.
Quite possibly. I mean, Snow Avalanche have really shown up today, as have Team Secret. We're going to hand it over to our analyst.
Their plan is going to be.
Yeah, I completely agree. Team Secret thinking about their ban now, getting rid of the star. Yes, so I really do like this because I still think Team Secret knows coming out of the last game, even though they won, it was definitely due to mistakes. Scarf still had a presence, even as far behind as Avalanche was. So get rid of the Scarf. You don't have to worry about it now. You get to play a different game completely.
Yeah, well, that does mean that the Adagio is going to be available. Waldemar is going to grab that, most likely going to be played by Waldemar, but we'll have to see exactly what else they do decide to round out that composition with. Team Secret, now it's going to be on them. You have to assume the Lyra is going to get picked up here, and there it is. I mean, that's pretty obvious at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you could look to do Lance as well if you don't want Avalanche to do the Adagio Lance Arden combo, which we do see sometimes. Very, very strong combo, hard to deal with. But they're going to go ahead and grab the Kestrel. They don't want to pick up a roam yet. If if Lyra is going to be on the Kvalifar, but we can still flex onto Mowgli. So I do like the way Team Secret's draft sits as we go into the second pick for Avalanche.
Palmatoro's been having some phenomenal games on this Kestrel throughout the championship, so makes sense to get him that comfort pick, get that power. But here comes the Fortress.
Fortress is on the board for Snow Avalanche. I think this is the first time Team Secret's playing into Fortress during this championship, if I'm not mistaken. So if they do get a heavy melee frontliner with this dog, it's going to be pretty hard for Team Secret to work around it for a couple of key points in the game.
Yeah, well, they're hovering over this glaive, and they're going to lock it in. Another very squishy composition coming out of them. The glaive is really the only one that you'd expect to be really, beefy on the front lines. Obviously, whoever goes roam is going to build up a lot of health just by the nature of the roam items, but this last pick, Krull from Team Secret, this is going to very likely then be the roam Lyra with the Kestrel in the lane for Kvalifar.
Yeah, we'll find out soon enough.
Snow Avalanche here, in my opinion, have a slightly better draft.
They kind of do. So my concern is actually with the Krull. I'm not entirely sold on it. Krull is very good into Adagio, and I think with the Lyra, it could be good earlier on, but I feel like the Fortress is going to initiate fights that happen too quickly, potentially, for Palmatoro to ramp up if the game gets late enough. We'll see. Actually, nah, because Kvalifar is going to do a lot of damage later on. I'm changing my opinion as we go along here, but I actually do kind of like Team Secret's draft.
I think it's okay. I think that the weakness is the Krull, in my opinion, in the early game. I think if Avalanche are able to play it effectively, Fortress and Glaive can do a huge amount of pain, although Palmatoro is already stealing away front. So, as I say, that Team Secret coming for the rotation.
Fighting Lyra Krull early on is not going to happen too easily because you can give the Imperial Sigil heal onto the Krull whilst he's building up weakness stacks and life stealing, and it's kind of just very difficult to kill him until Contusic at least has a little bit more damage, I would say. But yeah, we'll see how it works out later on in the game. That's when I really have my eyes on. Bash and Contusik did rotate up to the lane quite early on here, but Kvalifar was already gone. I like the fact that Kvalifar is being careful, because with the Glaive and the Fortress, those are two heroes with jumps quite early that can dive onto you and make your life very difficult in lane.
That they can, and of course Adagio does have that range as well, so if you can dodge out the Glimmer shots, Voldemar can trade effectively into this Kestrel. We've only seen 4 Fortresses across this tournament, 3 of them played by Dingo for G2. I think there was 3 wins for them as well. Bastion bringing out the Fortress here, it's not a return to form for Snow Avalanche, but it signals a statement of intent for them. They want to be aggressive, they want to try and get this extra damage down from their roamer as well as from their laner and their jungler.
Yeah, I mean, Snow Avalanche definitely have a lot of power early on here when it comes to 3 versus X situations. I think, as I said, in the jungle and the 2 versus 2, I'm a little bit skeptical, at least until some damage is picked up. But when they jump in and go for a kill on someone, they can take them down quite quickly with Bash's bleed. Also, Waldemar can kind of buff up Contusik, and that can add a lot of damage to the equation. It's going to make it difficult for Mowgli to spend a lot of time in lane. We do have a fight.
Both the teams will just back away for now. Bastion taking a little bit of pain. This is always the weakness playing into Lyra as well. She has that passive. It can just push you back so far. You know, you getting the Principal Arcanum down time after time takes you down really low very quickly and forces you to try and run away while being slowed, which makes it even more difficult for you to get out of the fight.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Something I want to talk about with Lyra, though, quite frequently we'll see her babysitting in the lane, and we are seeing her do that right now. But I feel like this is maybe a little bit risky if Contusik catches on.
Yeah.
So long as a flare comes out from Bash and they spot Mowgli quickly, I think just a double jump forward plus Waldemar buffing up Contusik could equal a kill on Mowgli, which might be why Mowgli is going for such a lot of defensive tier 1 items very fast. That would make sense to me. I think he hasn't gone for the boots because if he gets jumped on, he's dead anyway. He just needs health and shield and armor. But yeah, it's an interesting early game so far. Not too much has happened. Both the teams playing quite cautiously. As they are 1-1, I can appreciate that. It's a difficult situation in this Grand Finals.
This is one of the really big games in a best-of-5 series as well. When you're 1-1, getting that lead, getting to 2-1, getting one game away from winning the whole thing is so vital for you mentally and emotionally, because it allows you that little bit of freedom. You know if you lose the game, you're not getting knocked out, and you put all of the pressure onto the enemy side.
Absolutely, and either team getting it would be great for their mentality, as you were saying. Have a look at Contusik right now, hovering up in this bush, looking for the flank opportunity. I feel like if Avalanche want to make this play, they might want to try and slow down their push a little bit.
It's going to go now. Mowgli's going to take some pain, then don't want to afterburn in. They decide against it. Bright Bulwark, of course, are there to stop it, and that's such a powerful skill coming out from Mowgli. You know, that ability just to stop both Bastion jumping in and the afterburn coming in from Kentisik is so incredibly strong.
That's why you can't really start a gank with a basic attack, though. Like, Mowgli, if he has vision of you or if he knows you're there, is just going to instinctively push the Bright Bulwark. And yes, in the later stages of the game, for example, it's just going to consistently be a really good tool for them. But in the early stages of the game, if Mowgli doesn't hit it on time, it doesn't matter that much. And I feel like Avalanche could have been a little bit sneakier there. They could have tried to execute the play more quickly. Perhaps they were afraid of Palmatoro being the bush, which he now is moving forwards.
Not going to be able to get too much onto Bastion here. The turret will keep him defended, and they will just back away. Let's have a quick talk about this Fortress build. Voldemar, I mean, it does take a huge amount of pain from that. Kentisic's going to join the lane. Let's have a quick talk about the Fortress build. We've seen a couple of Aftershocks on Fortress. Is that the way you would go here?
I like Aftershock. I think it's interesting, though, that he hasn't gone for the Crystal bit early. I know there's actually quite a few varying opinions on the Crystal bit early. I kind of like it, especially in this game where you're wanting to dive in and do big burst damage with Glaive and Fortress in early game fights. But the Aftershock, I mean, returning to your point as a whole, I think is actually quite a good tool for the side of Snow Avalanche on this Fortress. For example, if you're in a situation where Palmatoro is jumping on your backline and you use an Aftershock proc on him, the percentage health damage could be very good if Palmatoro goes quite tanky. So that's one way of looking at it. Here comes another fight.
Voldemar, the target. Bastion jumps in to try and keep Palmatoro away. He's going to be the target for them now. And will just be able to back away. The Glimmer shots hitting his minions weren't connecting onto those Snow Avalanche members.
Yeah, notably Bastion doesn't really take damage from these trades. I feel like if you're going to jump in like that with Palmatoro and Mowgli, you got to go for Waldemar, but Bash is doing a good job of body blocking a lot of these Glimmer shots, making it so only the splash component, which is CP, lands onto Waldemar. Contusik making his way up here now. He's just been farming away in the background, really not applying too much pressure early on. This does give Snow Avalanche the encouragement to move up a little bit.
Palmatoro just built a Crystal bit.
Yeah, he could be going for a few different things here. So he could be going for Aftershock, but just built attack speed early on to get weakness stacks. He could actually be going for an alternating current. It's not.
What I was thinking.
It's not terrible.
It's not traditional on.
It is unusual, but it is possible as well. Like, there is value to it. It gives you damage early on. It gives you attack speed, which is obviously great with weakness stacks. It does get through a lot of the early armor picked up by Contusik and Bash, so if he specifically wants to fight in the 2 versus 2 and doesn't see himself being able to get onto Waldemar, this might be a bit of a response to that, although I think it's a bit all-in of a response.
That it is. Altenenko has been finished on Voldemar. Breaking point actually on Kentasik now as well. So again, not a traditional first item that we see on Glaive. Usually they go towards that Sorrow Blade first. Breaking point here means he thinks there's going to be more extended fights.
I can understand where he's coming from, because with Adagio on the side of Avalanche providing heals, and Lyra on the side of Team Secret providing heals, you know, it kind of makes sense that the fights would go longer. It's also worth noting that the rate at which Breaking Point stacks is dependent on the damage that you do.
Yeah.
And Contusik as Glaive has a lot of upfront damage that can get him a lot of stacks very quickly. Following that, he has additional attack speed to pop bleed stacks from Fortress, and he now has those Breaking Point stacks to deal some more damage. So I think it actually makes a great deal of sense here. Let's see if Contusik can make it work.
Mowgli is the target. Voldemar's going to put some pain down onto him. Snow Avalanche once again backing away. Both these teams don't want to fight. Like, they do want to fight, but they don't want to be the ones to make the mistake. And you can see how apprehensive and tentative they are. They do not want to go behind in this best-of-5 series. 1-1, of course, for the EU Live Championships here. And Bashan has to back away, jumps in onto Mowgli. Not going to be able to do too much. Palmato has been waiting so patiently down in this bush, and he just runs away to farm.
Look at how much more slowly the health bars of Avalanche bounce back after those trades than it does for Team Secret. I feel like, oh, attack at the pack.
Attack of the pack is used. The Wolves are on the hunt, and they're hunting for Team Secret blood. Palmatoro the target. There's the afterburn, knocks him into the wall. The fountain comes up, but Palma's taken very low, very quick. He will just about survive off towards the side. Imperial Sigil heals them up, and Team Secret able to get away from the engage from Snow Avalanche.
It's not an interaction you see super frequently, but it seems obvious, right? But Bright Bulwark actually slows up attack of the pack creeps, and that can be big. That was big right there.
Wolves like to hunt at night, you know?
So when it's bright, they're a bit afraid. They don't want to go in. I can dig it. All right, Palmatoro, I want to talk about his build real quick, because he stopped going for whatever he was going for after he built the Heavy Prism, which is also interesting. He went for a little bit more armor. I really like this. Against Breaking Point, this is not only reducing the damage that you take, but the damage that he amplifies and stacks up through the Breaking Point stacks itself. Quite frequently, you would imagine Contusik will be hitting Palmatoro. So I really like this. It actually kind of buys even more time for his backline. Kvalifar went for a Sorrow Blade straight away this game. That choice, I think, is maybe a little bit more questionable. I think Breaking Point would have been a better decision, just because early on here with the Glimmer shots, you're going to be able to stack it quite quickly, and with Contusik already picking one up, you know that you're not going to get burst in the same kind of way.
The one thing I like about the Sorrow Blade is if you hit those Glimmer shots onto Voldemar, you're making him use his energy for the Gift of Fire, which means he doesn't have as much energy for the Agent of Wrath in the fights. It's a little bit about just trying to reduce him. Look at how much energy you actually use from using that Gift of Fire. Yeah,
I mean, at the same time, look at how much energy he regenerates by attacking burning targets. So if he's in good positioning, I think that's mitigated somewhat. It doesn't really matter. Kvalifar picked up his Breaking Point here. Here comes the attack pack.
One shot, one kill has connected onto Voldemar. They're going for the fight. Here comes Voldemar into the midst of the fray. Palmatoro is the target. Kentasik does get stunned up, but look at the damage from Palmatoro. The huge heal. Burst comes down. Mowgli split from his team. He has to try and run away, and Kvalifar and Palmatoro are looking for the chase. No, they're not. Kvalifar will fool Palmatoro. The next target, he serves his way back to the Sanctuary, and Snow Avalanche pick up 2.
I'm having flashbacks right now, Sona, to game 1. Just sticking around too long, weird positioning at times in the fight. It actually started off quite nicely for Team Secret. The one-shot, one-kill means that there's full adrenaline stacks on Kvalifar right as we get out of the gates here. But he spent a lot of time glimmer shotting when I feel like he should have just been using basics. If the glimmer shots aren't hitting Waldemar, they're not really doing that much, because there's so much armor on the other targets that, you might as well just go for the basics and have the ability to reposition quickly. Then Kvalifar walked back into a verse, which is where the flashback really hit me hard, because that happened in those games against Mouse. I don't know, Team Secret, that was a little bit, it wasn't a bad fight to pick, it was just poorly executed.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It felt like they were calling from two different sides of the fight, and Mowgli was saying, oh yeah, we can go back in, and so Team Secret were going back in, but because they were coming from the bottom and the top, really weren't able to do that much. Bastion, the target here for Team Secret, going to see if they can take the wolf down, but the Gift of Fire will heal him up. Fountain used as well, and here comes Kentastic. Palmer's dead, and now Mowgli can get taken out as well.
Nice
stun with the active camo. Attack of the Pack's being used, it will chase Cavalifar away. Mowgli has to use the Arcane Passage, but all three members of Snow want the chase. One shot, one kill hits onto Voldemar, but the Afterburn hits onto Mowgli and will take him down. Cavalifar has to run away. Looking for the stun there, actually stayed around for way too long once again. Voldemar looking for the chase. Cavalifar doesn't really have anywhere to go from here. Voldemar's just going to chase him round. Active camo is up, but no energy at all. Cavalifar with a reflex is not going to be enough. Snow Avalanche take down all three members of Secret.
I feel like Cavalifar could have made that play work if he did it earlier, because he maybe would have had some adrenaline stacks or breaking point stacks to work with. But, you know, again, Team Secret, they kind of saw an opportunity. They were like, all right, Bash, he's here, he's by himself, but they didn't have the vision to back themselves up. They didn't see Kentusik coming up. They didn't realize that Bash already has an Atlas plus a Fountain plus an O-card. He's too tanky to take down. You know, this is becoming a bit of a problem for Team Secret, where they're picking fights that they can't afford to, and Avalanche's reactions are, like, very good. They are just bouncing right on top of whoever they need to. Palmatoro is not tanky enough. He spent a little bit of time delving into an offensive itemization path that he never finished up. So it's worth noting, actually, just on this topic, that the Heavy Prism is going to give him a bit more of a shield from things like his Dead Man's Rush, but that's not the same as just building tanky. So they're able to do what we saw last game Team Secret do to Avalanche. You know, they just take down the Kroll as he comes in on the front line, and then they can deal with Cavalifar later.
Having the double Atlas is so strong as well for Snow Avalanche itemization-wise, you know, because Palmatoro relies on auto-attacks, because we see Cavalifar relying on auto-attacks as well, having double Atlas is so powerful because you're maiming two targets, you're reducing their attack speed, you're stopping them from being able to get all of that damage down in fights. And already, actually, we see a weapon infusion just popped on Mowgli, so it looks like Team Secret might be looking for a fight.
I like the weapon infusion, actually. It's going to give him a little bit more ability to harass from range consistently. Like a Crystal Infusion on a Lyra makes your Imperial Sigil stronger, but those are on a long cooldown and you want to save those to heal. So a weapon infusion actually gives you quite a lot, since you get 2 basics every attack, really. Here comes the fight, though.
Pack of the Pack, Kentasik has come for the flank. Palmatoro tries to get onto the glaive. Can he send him to an early grave? No! It's going to be Palmatoro, the target. Good from Hell's Heart will come, hit Kentasik straight into the face and stop the Snow Avalanche advance.
That was a nice disengagement from Team Secret, and I really like the fact that they didn't push their luck afterwards. You certainly didn't want to in that situation. You've got to remember that the gold, although a decent lead for Avalanche at around 4,000, isn't something that Team Secret can't overcome. So if you see an opportunity to just back away and play safe and pick a better fight later on, you should do it.
Team Secret taking a deep breath in this game. They're trying to work out how they want to get back into it. It's 3,700 gold the difference. Snow Avalanche already started rolling down the mountain, and it might, as Tasty Bacon said before, it might be Team Secret that we see being dethroned here. They've been the King's Regent for the longest time, almost an entire year, looking to retain that crown. It would be a grand slam for them, but it would be a grand victory for Snow Avalanche if they could take it off their hands. Bastion, the target here of Team Secret, looking for a fight. Mowgli steps forward, Imperial Sigil's used. Kentasik's going to take a lot of pain, but Mowgli as well gets absolutely melted away. Attack of the Pack, Cavalifar needs to get away from there. Crucible is used. There is the active camo, it's a 2-man stun. Kentasik there as well with a burst. Kentasik's going to take a lot of pain. There is the one shot, one kill, but it's not going to do enough. Snow Avalanche back away. Team Secret still all survive. And once again, it's a stalemate between these two teams.
I'm not sure who would have won that fight if they kept going, but here they go again.
Arcane Passage, they're going through it,
all through.
Palmatoro's there, he gets named up though, and he's gonna fall. They do take down Bastion. Cavalifar trying to retreat away from Kentasik, but he's gone for the chase. Mowgli can't do anything versus the Adagio who'll take him down. Voldemar, he's a Volder Star, and Cavalifar has to run away.
All right, I feel like if Cavalifar maybe stuck around and juked out going through the portal with an active camo, that could have been a sick play.
He didn't have the energy for it.
Well, he did at the beginning because he had adrenaline stacks, but once he went through the portal and walked around for a bit, they all dropped off, and suddenly he can't cast it. In any case, it was an interesting play by Team Secret. I understand the idea. It kind of looked like they were maybe winning the exchange earlier on. Cavalifar hang on. We'll get back to this in a second. He wants
Glimmer
to
shot. Kensik goes in for it. Afterburn is used. Just needs a good Glimmer. No, doesn't get the steal away. And Kvalifar now has to try and get away another day, but he'll take down Voldemar. From Hell's Heart comes out from Palmatoro. Not even needed there. And Team Secret able to pick up a kill, although they do lose out on that Kraken.
Getting that kill is pretty darn big, especially because Kentusik's actually quite low health, and he was tagged so it doesn't get the Kraken regen. This really lets Team Secret take down the Kraken safely. I don't imagine Kentusik is really thinking about going in here. That's so bold. Yeah, he's just going to back away. I think this is a smart decision. What? Attack the pack.
Just trying to chase off Team Secret here. I feel if you're Secret, you just engage. You just get onto Kentusik, and that's exactly what they do. Snow Avalanche caught in a blizzard. A little bit of decision-making by them there. Team Secret will take the Kraken before they even take the turret as well. This is such a big win for Team Secret.
I mean, it is and it isn't, right? I mean, so they didn't get the Kraken. They did lose that fight.
Well, yeah, but not losing a turret to the Kraken.
But, as you said, I mean, they've made the most of a bad situation here.
Maybe they will.
Situation.
Oh!
No! You know, that makes it less good. Yeah. But Snow Avalanche, I can't quite understand Kentusik's plan there. Yes, you have some good burst, but it's not as if you're crit and damage glaive, right? Like you have Sarblade breaking point. That's less about just going and getting upfront damage. Kvalifar picking up the kill on Waldemar, also obviously very good. This has gotten Kvalifar a lot of damage items. You know, he's now got a bone saw on top of everything else. And considering that Mowgli's building like a weapon infusion, armor shred, it's nice.
Is Palma building a broken myth? It looks like it. I mean, this itemization-wise, that's what he's going towards now. Snow Avalanche looking for the engage. Great Bright Bulwark stops Kentusik from being able to get in. Attack of the Pack's being used. It's only on about a 40-second cooldown, though, so Snow Avalanche will have that one back up soon. Looks like Team Secret are happy just to stay defensive until that Kraken respawns, and then perhaps look for another fight.
So, Broken Myth. Let's talk about this one, because it's an interesting choice.
That's what casters say when they don't really agree with the choice.
Like, in 10 minutes... I might change my mind. Right now, I don't really agree with it.
Okay.
But if he were to get like a little bit more crystal power on top, sure. The reason being that a Kroll is expected to live quite a while in fights, and you know, you're eventually going to start ramping up to the point where your smites are just hitting like a truck. You're going to get more out of your Dead Man's Rush and the shield there, you know, thenceforth. So yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like if you had more crystal, sure. I would have finished something else first, though, and just kept the piercing. In fact, I wouldn't have built the piercing. I would have kept the heavy prism, finished whatever other item you're going to pair it with, and then built Broken Myth, because it doesn't really do that much without additional crystal. For a Kroll. I mean, for someone else, maybe, but Kroll, not so much.
It's a minor lead here for Snow Avalanche, playing in the major leagues. Of course, they came up from the Challenger Series just this split to be able to face up against Team Secret here in the European Live Championships Summer Split Finals. A true Cinderella story for them. Of course, all their players have been seen on the live stage before. A very strong team, but it's the first time this lineup has ever made it this far, keeping the Snow legacy alive. 2,000 gold the difference between these teams, almost 20 minutes in. Team Secret looking for something around this. Lots of scout traps, one shot, one kill onto Kentusik. There's the from Hellshot onto Voldemar, but great engage by Kentusik. The burst comes down. It's a good amount of damage. Bastion jumps in. Team Secret will try and disengage and then re-engage. Blocked out a little bit. Palmatoro needs the fountain to keep himself alive, and Mowgli times it perfectly. Now Kavalafar's going to try and face up against Voldemar. It's 1v1. The laner beat Elena, but Voldemar will escape. Kentusik jumps in. Mowgli the first to fall. They need to get away. They need to start another day. Team Secret have to retreat away from this one. There's still 3 members of Snow Avalanche looking for the fight. Palmatoro has so much energy left alive on him, but Snow Avalanche able to take down Mowgli and win out the fight.
That was so close. I mean, there were some really, really good moments for Team Secret there. I also feel like Avalanche played that fight pretty much perfectly. Yeah. You know, they went in and out. There was a great afterburn on the Kvalifar midway through that, which completely saved Bastion and the entire game probably for Avalanche. But the big thing for me is that although Team Secret, yes, they fell behind there, they showed a much stronger face than in some of these previous fights. The last couple of times they got kills, keep in mind there's only 3 on Team Secret, it was because Avalanche just massively overreached. So having them almost be able to take a fight there does encourage me that maybe Team Secret, as we move a bit further in, could do well. They've got to deal with this Kraken first, though, and that's a big obstacle to overcome, a bit of a road bump for them. We're already 20 minutes in. Things are getting a little bit dicey for both teams, Team Secret especially, though.
Well, it could all come down to one roll of that dice. One crit is all we need. Attack of the Pack has been used. Team Secret backing away from the turret. The Kraken's still very, very healthy on this push. Kvalifar takes a lot of pain. Palmatoro too. Look at the damage that Voldemort is putting down. Alternating current, Broken Myth, Shatterglass, 2 stacks on that Broken Myth as well. They're going for the Crystal Turrets. Team Secret need to take down the Kraken, but at the moment the Kraken is working only for Snow Avalanche. They take the first main Crystal Turret down. Kentasik does get stunned up as well. He'll afterburn away. The Kraken still pushing in. Voldemort now the target. The burst comes down. The stun, double stun on Kabalapar, but he got into active camo. Palmatoros looking for the
Kraken is still so healthy right now.
Well. Kraken off towards the side. Kentasik takes down the turret. Snow Avalanche are fighting for their lives. It's a great stun, and already Voldemort's having to back away. Bastion looking for it. Voldemort there as well. He's left his team for dust. The Kraken's going to keep pushing in. Mowgli goes for the chase. Voldemort turns him around. He went through the portal. The Kraken's going to push him down. The Kraken can take him. What?
No, what?
Snow Avalanche use the portal to their advantage. They take the game.
Oh my God.
2-1 for Snow Avalanche. And Team Secret look dismayed at their own portal.
They defended. They had defended that push. They could have come back into that game. The portal was the golden ticket for Waldemar to just jump into it at all. That was absolutely insane. One of the craziest endings to a game of Vainglory I have ever seen.
That's what you get when you play with portals. Jackson, sometimes they backfire, sometimes you get caught in an infinite loop. We'll hand it over to Forecourt Jester, Tasty Bacon and Fuji to break down that game.
Maybe in the off meta, we can think about using rhyme picks in the future if we see those kind of double melee in the jungle. But we will start off the draft today with Team Secret banning out the Lyra.
Yeah, and one more thing I do want to point out is if this was a best of 3, which the previous 22 series that Team Secret had won have been, it would have been over. The consecutive streak would be over. So,
lot on the line here, guys.
Snow Avalanche, they can definitely do this. They're 1 game away from the championships, and it's going to be an Adagio going over to Secret. Again, if it's in the lane, I'd love the pick.
Yeah, I do agree with that. We do see Samuel being banned again. Avalanche is probably going to stick with this. It seems to be working for them. Now 1 game up on Secret, bringing the Glaive in. It could be Fortress as well. It did work in the last game, but they may not want to give too much away if they do prioritize another carry. It is something they could think of. In terms of what is left to pick, since Lyra and Adagio are off the board, they may want to grab that Finn, but it looks like Scarf is going to come through.
And the supposed secret kryptonite, because it has done very well for Snow Avalanche. They were able to win with it. They forced the ban of the Scarf in the previous game, and now they're going to get to run it again. Let's see what Secret has to answer.
I really would like to see Team Secret go back to something more traditional here, which it looks like they're doing. They have the Adagio, they have the Finn. Lance is also available. When you have the front double lines with the Adagio, you can do quite a lot of work, but they may have something else in their mind. In this specific matchup, I'd actually not too favorite of the Sky because we do have the Glaive, and if they do last pick something like a Fortress again, Lance is gonna be very difficult for this Sky pick.
I do actually, I have to disagree with you a little bit though, just because Palmotoro's Sky seems to be on a whole nother level, especially when they combine it with the Adagio. But that's going to be an Arden as the final pick for Snow Avalanche. So another...
It's really savage. Team Snow Avalanche bringing us back to the winter compositions. Bringing out this Arden, bringing out the Scarf, bringing out the Glaive is a strong lineup.
This is the composition that was the absolute terror of Europe back in winter, and even previous to that at times. You have the Glaive Arden combination, which actually has a very potent early game, which can kind of catapult Waldemar on Scarf to a earlier late game. But you've also got the ability to use Glaive defensively, help for peeling for your Scarf. Arden can do a similar kind of thing. You've got the pressure cooker. It's just a very solid composition. It's fallen off recently, but certainly with Avalanche and how well they've been playing things like this Scarf, Kentusik and his Glaive, I can see why they'd want to go it in what could be a really important matchup for the history of Europe's Vainglory scene. It's Team Secret. They're so close. Yeah. They only need 2 more games in this series, and they could be 4-time champions, but Snow Avalanche do not want any of that.
Not at all. Team Secret, the reigning champions, 3 splits in a row, now into their 4th split, of course. If they win this, they will be crowned the Grand Slam winners, but at the moment, Snow Avalanche have Many things to say at that. Looking to commit regicide, going to see if they can take this Secret lineup down.
You know, Team Secret, although I've talked a lot about Avalanche's composition already, I do think it's worth noting this is such a comfort composition for Team Secret. I mean, Kvalifar's been playing Adagio since forever because it's been strong for a very long time and only briefly fallen out of most metas. Mowgli, Finn is the hero he became known for and is still somewhat known for. And Palmatoro, he's on Sky. You heard Bacon talking about putting him on more carry-centric heroes. This is maybe not as hard a carry as something like a Kestrel can be, but if you get into these 1v1s, I would want Palmatoro on Sky against, you know, any Scarf, basically. So I think it's comfort versus what is something that is a historically very powerful composition out of Avalanche.
Looks like Palmatoro is going down the weapon power route on this Sky as well, so he's going to go towards that earlier game spike, have a lot of damage, especially with the Adagio buffs that come out. It's something we haven't seen Team Secret do too much, but it's something we saw a lot in North America.
It is something that we wanted to see, though.
Yes.
Actually, last time we saw this kind of a composition with Adagio and Sky, I believe it was also into a Scarf. We wanted to see it be more of like a, okay, buff up Sky's weapon power build composition. It's so good at getting around, being very mobile around Spitfires and trying to pressure onto the backline. My concern is just that Glaive is going to be really good against Sky this game. If you reposition her, you knock her around and stop her from getting the Surrey Strike where she needs to be, and in order to deal the damage on the Waldemar, that could be absolutely huge. So keep your eyes on the engagements that happen between Kentusik and Palmatoro as we get into the fights later in the game.
It's an interesting composition really coming out from Team Secret. We actually saw it work for them in Game 2 when we said perhaps it would not, because they were relying on the Force Accords to try and get on towards that Sky. If they can get a good Force Accord off, if they can get some good early aggression off, they can definitely start to snowball the lead out of Snow Avalanche's favor. However, Snow Avalanche have a lot of long-range damage. They've got the pressure cooker you talked about. They've got the ability to displace Team Secret, and it makes it very difficult for Team Secret to win the game out as it goes on.
Man, this is going to be such a close one. What a game to end, potentially, an entire season on. Look at the damage.
Bastion! Just about surviving. Palmatoro will get stunned up. Kentusik now the target. Takes a huge amount of pain from Palmatoro. Kvalifar's looking for it. Didn't have the burn, though. Now he'll take the pain in response. Heals himself up. Will he burn? Not quite enough. Both teams having people survive on less than 100 HP, get themselves out alive.
Less than 50. I mean, oh my... This is so tense, and you can only imagine how tense it is for the players, right? Kvalifar is an emotional guy, a really emotional guy. When they beat Mousesports the other day, it looked like he was about to tear up. You know, he was so absolutely in the moment, and right now, this is what it all boils down to. Their legacy is on the line. They really want to maintain it, push it forwards. They also want the guaranteed slot at Worlds. They want to show the world stage that it's not just Europe that they can dominate, it's everywhere else. Snow Avalanche, if they come in and after one season, coming all the way up from the Challenger Series, completely ruin that? What a statement.
What a statement indeed. Great balls of fire coming out here from Voldemar. Going to look to try and push back this wave. It would be incredible. Like Team Snow, yes, they've got Look at Me coaching them. He's got a wealth of experience, but this is a brand new lineup. It's a brand new roster for Snow Avalanche. They're looking for the win against Team Secret, who have won the last 3 splits pretty convincingly as well. They've always come in, well, first split they didn't, but after that first split where they came in as seed 8, they've come in as seed 1, and they've always been able to take it all the way through the finals. They still have that opportunity here, and trust me, they will be fighting for their lives, fighting for their right to get into that final game of this best of 5.
Absolutely. All right, let's take a look at some of the itemization choices coming out from the heroes on both sides. Waldemar, I think the interesting thing for me here is that he looks like he might be going towards an Eve quite quickly, rather than going directly into a Broken Myth. Perhaps he could still go for it. We'll see. Maybe he just wants that Void Battery. But I actually think an Eve would be quite good. You have so much power in the late game that just kind of making it a little bit easier to get there, I think, is a good plan. That said, I also wouldn't be that against something that is more of a straight damage item, or even, and this is going to be mind-blowing to you, a Frostburn. The reason being that you could get Kentusik into these fights with the Arden as well, and crush down someone like Kvalifar or Palmatoro quite quickly early game to snowball ahead a little bit.
Kentusik looking for a bit of an engage here, coming around the side, has that afterburn available. It's not quite going to go in for anything yet. I actually saw Voldemar do this in the first couple of games he played Sky as well. He does Scarf, so he does actually build this way. Decima Bomb will come, Bastion being able to retreat away from it. Now Kentusik has nowhere to go apart from up and into that bush, just keeps himself alive. And now Team Secret winning out the trade. So I actually expect Voldemar to build up towards that Shatterglass here or into the Frostburn as well. He does get that early Void Battery when he's playing Scarf because of the energy regeneration, which you really do need to keep those fireballs coming out.
All right, you can see pressure onto the turret here from Team Secret. They do have some good damage early on, but Waldemar is finding nice Spitfires. It's going to force Team Secret back a little bit. Mowgli already has his fountain picked up, so if a skirmish kicked off sometime soon, and I almost feel like maybe Team Secret, knowing that Bastion didn't have his, should make this rotation. Yeah, see what they're doing here. They're going towards the shop to stop Bash from being able to shop in the jungle. He has to go back to base to shop right now. There's no alternative for him to get the fountain because a skirmish just would not go their way. I really like that rotation out of Team Secret. It shows they're being very heads up and they're not succumbing to the pressure of this very intense situation.
It's an incredibly intense situation. I don't think I can stress actually how intense it is for both these two teams. You know, Team Secret fighting off for their collective lives in some respects, you know. When you are known as the top team in a region for so long, the pressure that builds onto you is so great. And Snow Avalanche as well, coming up from the Challenger Series, have such a wealth to prove here
so
if they're able to take down.
Too. This is the thing about Avalanche that you got to keep in mind. They have not had any chance to rest on their laurels because they've constantly been pushing up. Team Secret, they've been at the top for a while. You always hear Kavalifar say, I don't want to fall down. You know, we're just looking back to make sure the other teams aren't catching up with us, and we're trying to push ourselves forward. But right now, they've got a very real opponent right at the same level as them, from what I can tell in this series. They've got to really pay attention to what's going on here. Waldemar is going to get vanguarded out of there. You can see Mowgli trying to set up some kills. Team Secret want to get an advantage a little bit earlier on here. I think with the Weapon Sky, this is what they should be doing. They can't push it too far like Kavalifar almost did earlier on. Here comes the Gauntlet.
Here comes the Gauntlet. Kavalifar's going to try and get away from it, but the Afterburn comes down. Good double quibble. There's the Decima Bomb as well. K6 low.
Dragon's Breath.
Yes, huge. Dragon's Breath comes out as well. And already we see the surviving on Snow Avalanche. K6 does get taken down. Power needs to try and dodge around. Can he take down Voldemar? The goop comes down. Bastion might be able to take him out. Not quite enough. Forward barrage comes down. Palmer will escape. Mowgli gets out alive as well. It's a 1-for-1 trade. So close there between these two teams.
Bastion, if he had blood for blood, that would have been the end of Palmatoro. He was on basically no health. Also, if Palmatoro had just maybe some attack speed, I actually think that fight would have gone their way, way harder. Right now, Sona is actually disrobing a little bit. It's getting hot in here with Scarf doing this Dragon's Breath. Very intense right now. There's the Crucible out of Mowgli. He knows that he needs to be able to deal with the gauntlets, make sure that Kavalifar doesn't get placed too far out of position. He's not exactly tanky enough to deal with Contusik and Waldemar's damage, so he does need to be able to be in a good position to get the Verses of Judgment off. Man, Sona, this is the best game we could have hoped for in this grand finals.
Definitely. Already so close as well. Trading 1-for-1 so early on. Only 200 gold the difference. Let's have a quick look across the items. Crucible and Fountain picked up onto Mowgli. Sorrow Blade, Palmatoro building up probably towards a breaking point as well as his second item. Kavalifar's got his Alternating Current, building up that reflex block as well early on. I like to see an earlier Crucible coming out from Bastion really here.
Bash does get pulled in there. You can see Death from above, kicking off a bit of a fight from Palmatoro. He wanted to set something up, but it's going to be a good reaction from Avalanche. They back away. I want to talk about Waldemar. He went for this Shatterglass. If he can find good Spitfires for poke into Waldemar, or sorry, into Kavalifar, I think this could be okay. But overall, I mean, you heard Fuji mention this earlier. Broken Myth synergizes so well with Scarf, and going for a Shatterglass, this is something you normally pick up like third. So it has a very specific point. You know, it shoves waves quickly without you having to ramp up. It gets good poke down without you having to ramp up. He needs to be doing those things and those things very well.
That he does. Look at this already. Both the teams in the lane, once again, neither of these teams really like to go for that aggressive counter early jungling, and what we begin to see is these big 3v3 fights as soon as they all get to around level 6. Mowgli does have that Force to Cord in about 5 seconds, so can look for the pull, but they're just going to back away for now. Voldemar does have about 1,500 gold to spend, so we'll be looking probably towards the Eve. That's what he built second last time.
Oh, here we go.
There is the Gauntlet. Kavalifar takes a lot of pain. Dragon's Breath is on him, and he will get taken out. Mowgli left alone, stranded. Palmatoro nowhere near the fight at all. Snow Avalanche will take down Mowgli as well. And Snow Avalanche with great rotations to catch out 2 members of Secret.
Team Secret have to be sweating right now, and I really think the tension is actually getting to them. Making a rotation down to the shop like that with no vision backing you up is so bold when Palmatoro isn't even there. He's the one who's able to stay on the back of the fight and do a lot of damage whilst all of the focus is on Kavalifar. You have to have him with you. you. Now Avalanche, with those 2 kills, are accelerating very rapidly to a late-game Scarf build, and Palmator is not going Crystal. Good block out of Palmator, does stop that fight from kicking off in a real way from Avalanche, but they are testing Team Secret right now. They're testing them in every single way possible.
Team Secret on the ropes. It's the 4th round out of 5. We're getting down to the meat and potatoes of this best-of-5 series here, and Team Secret look perhaps like they're flagging slightly. Perhaps not making the decisions they usually would, not quite understanding how they want to play, but the Quibble comes down. Voldemar's going to get jumped off by Palmator, blocks out that afterburn as well. Bastion has to run through the death from above. Will just about escape. Good Quibble, Fountain comes out though, and now Team Secret cannot dive the turret. They're going to have to retreat away.
Look out for
Avalanche, they're looking for a re-engage onto Cavalifar. Kentasik very healthy here. Decides he doesn't quite want to go in. And Team Secret will be able to back away. Snow Avalanche not done with this one yet.
I'm really surprised Kentusik didn't go for that. But, you know, let's be fair. Snow Avalanche are probably feeling a lot of pressure right now as well. They don't want to bite off too much in these fights. They're 1 win away from dethroning Team Secret. It's a Herculean task, but they're up for the task itself. You can see right now, Team Secret moving back towards the lane. Kentusik is going to find a little bit of poke damage here. I like that he's going for crit. I think that's a great plan against Palmator and Cavalifar. You want to kill them very quickly. Force the Gauntlet
lands on 2. Voldemar will be able to boost his way away. Gauntlet was cancelled there with the Polite Company. Bastion not able to get it down. Kentasik's going to take a full forward rush to the face.
Oh,
and the Quibble as well. Palmator is starting ripping through Snow Avalanche. They take down the kill, and now they can look for the turret.
That Quibble was on the very edge of not connecting. Dragon's Breath coming out.
Palmator is looking for the turret here, so he strikes around, trying to get around from Voldemar, but Voldemar now has no energy. Fountain is still available. Verse as well. Voldemar's been forced all the way away from his team. Once again, mispositions in the fight, gets taken down with a forward barrage, and Snow Avalanche starting to fall.
That was not a good plan by Voldemar. You got to give up the turret after Kentusik dies here. Things could go very wrong off the back of that. Finally, Team Secret are actually going to steal away some camps that might put them in a good situation gold-wise, more so than they already are, which is about a 1,000 gold lead. Man, these fights are so close.
Yep.
You know, if a gauntlet didn't get canceled there, what
that would have been
right?
beautiful.
Avalanche's initial engagement goes so much better. If the edge of the Quibble didn't happen, Team Secret probably don't pick up a kill. It is a game of inches, as I've said many times before. As you add up all those inches, you get a mile. Team Secret looking to go all the way. I don't know if they can do it here, though. Snow Avalanche is looking pretty strong. It's very close.
It's incredibly close. Team Secret on the back foot, on the ropes, trying to defend their royal lives. Kentasik gets pulled in with the Force Accord. The gold mine was taken there by Team Secret. And with Kentasik using his boots to get away, along with that afterburn, they don't want to take the fight just now. Let's have a quick look at items before Snow decide to fight again. In fact, they're going for it now. I'm not going to let you talk, AJ. Here comes the Gauntlet. Cavalifar stunned up. Death from above is beautifully placed, though. Palmator trying to dodge around the break. Can he get around? There's the Story Strike. Dragon's Breath come down. Voldemar, 3 men in the pressure cooker. Going to get taken incredibly low. But already Cavalifar and Palmator can start turning the damage around. There is a fountain that's been used already. Team Secret going to back away. Snow Avalanche didn't get anything out of that fight.
Good Lord, Sona. Well, they got a few back camps. I mean, they found some pressure on the map, but it's certainly not what they were looking for. You could argue, though, that in a trade like that...
Oh, you could argue that Snow Avalanche aren't quite done yet. Death from above, all in one spot. Bash is going to get taken so low, so quick. He goes down. Kentasik will stun up Palmator, but you have to give this off to Team Secret. They've got the advantage. They've got the forward push. They've got the forward barrage, and they'll take down Kentasik as well. Voldemar has to try and retreat. So low on energy, though, on this scarf. Can Mowgli pull him in? He's got the Force Accord. He's got the Polite Company. There it goes. Crucible. Actually, Reflex Bot comes out there. Burst used as well. Mowgli just surviving. Forward barrage once again onto Voldemar. Voldemar needs to be careful. He's the sort of player who will go for this fight, and he needs to not go for this fight.
I agree with you. I feel like Snow's pushing their luck a little bit too much in this game. They're so close. Guys, don't do this to yourselves. They need a broken myth on Scarf, and then they can win these fights. The damage isn't there on Cavalifar yet. You saw actually 2 or 3 Spitfires out of Waldemar land onto Cavalifar, but it doesn't do enough because there's an Aegis on Cavalifar and no broken myth on Waldemar. As well as that, I also feel like target focus is something that Snow needs to be careful about.
Yeah.
Going for Cavalifar there initially to force him to run away, great plan, but you got to swap on to Palmator when Kentusik makes that change. Things are very tense. We're at 15 plus minutes. Kraken's on the map, and there's only 2,000 gold within this game. Avalanche are so close they can taste it.
It tastes like victory. Delicious, cheesy victory. from Snow Avalanche here, looking to see. I don't know why it's cheesy. I like cheese.
I love cheese too, but you caught me on off guard with that one, I gotta be honest.
Snow Avalanche looking for it. Oh, look at that fan vote, still 80%. This is for Game 4 of the Grand Finals after Snow Avalanche are 2-1 up. Snow Avalanche have proved themselves better than that fan vote, 20% to 80%.
When was this vote taken though, right after the last fight? I can kind of understand it if they all came in.
Oh, Force Accord blocked out with the reflex. There's still a Crucible available. 30 seconds on that. 20 seconds, though, on that Force Accord. So it's starting to get to that cooldown where he can use it time and time and time again. Death from Above is used. That's a big cooldown for Team Secret. They need to back away for about 20 seconds before they'll have that one back up.
All right, Team Secret, they're taking position on the map right now. Off the back of that last fight, they certainly feel like they can, and I think that they can until Waldemar picks up a Broken Myth for himself. There's another Force Accord.
Crucible.
Yeah, good Crucible coming out. I didn't actually quite land. Waldemar did dodge it by himself, but you want to be safe in this situation, that's for sure.
That's actually a big thing, though, because yesterday we saw Team Secret winning fights because their Crucible wasn't used, because of Crucible discipline from Mowgli. When those Force Accords miss, you need to try and keep your Crucible off. I know it's incredibly difficult, but that can be the inch that defines a great team from a team that gets knocked out in the finals.
If you're going to use my words like that, I'm not going to disagree with you. But at the same time, I understand how terrifying that is for Avalanche. I mean, look at the situation they're in. Let's talk builds real quick. Although, well, never mind.
Hey,
Waldemar,
just used.
He's got a Crystal Infusion. He actually slowed down his Broken Myth to get that. I like it. I think he needs to. Right? This next fight's going to be super critical. I don't know about Tornado Trigger on Contusik.
Death
It's
from
bold.
Above. Tornado Trigger is incredibly bold. We have seen this build before, though, and it worked out for them that time.
I mean, look at the last fight, okay? Just for a point of reference, Contusik actually died very quickly. He went in and he was disruptive and he bought time for Waldemar, but if Waldemar doesn't have Broken Myth, doesn't have enough damage, then Contusik being that disruption only amounts to so much. So I think maybe I would have gone more defense and then later built like a Tyrant's Monocle. That could have accomplished the same kind of thing, but on a better timeline for me.
He hasn't got any tier 3 defense items yet, so I totally agree with you. Having that tier 3, maybe a metal jacket or an Aegis or something along those lines, just to give himself that little bit more tankiness, would have helped out a lot. Team Secret, I almost called them Team Snow there. Oh, two-man! Bastion gets stunned up with the
Vanguard.
Cripple. There's the Death from Above. Vanguard tries to get him away, but will it be enough to get away from Palmer? There's the stun on Palmer with the Gauntlet, though. Voldemar pops the Dragon's Breath, looking for the chase onto Gabalafar. They will be able to escape, but now Pentasix jumped in with the Afterburn. He has Broken Myth, as you say. He's getting those stacks. He's on 4 already. Bastion now the target. 12 stacks sitting up, and here comes Kenneth. He's going to take a Quibble to the face. Voldemar, can he survive underneath his turret? Not for long. Polite Company into Quibble takes him down, and Bastion, the man who was engaged on, is still alive. But here comes Balmator. He says, not for long, Bastion, I'm going to take you down. Winter may be coming, but it's summer at the moment, and Team Secret are looking to take this to a Game 5.
Let's have a look at this replay because that fight was absolutely intense. Broken Myth popped on the side of Waldemar right before that fight, but he needs to get into the fight. And a Gauntlet got popped there, which is kind of luckily, let's be real, hit onto Palmatoro there. But that does give an opportunity for now Waldemar to get into the fight. You can see Contusik trying to get on the back line. He didn't go in tandem with Bash, though, or in tandem with the Dragon's Breath that was coming out of Waldemar. If the cohesion was there from Avalanche, I feel like that goes a bit better. I still think that after seeing the fight again especially, they just shouldn't have picked it.
Yeah.
They should have, if Bash was going to die, so be it, right? Or maybe you just dissuade them with the Dragon's Breath. Because now, with Kraken going across to Team Secret, it's all or nothing. And we've seen in these situations how ridiculous these game-ending pushes can be.
There's no Lyra in this game, so we're not going to have the crazy enemy team Arcane Passage backdoor that we saw in Game 3, which
What a play.
Easily one of the best plays I've ever seen in Vainglory. To make that decision in that moment, I think you could see he was thinking about it as well. He's like, if they engage on me, I'll just go for it. I'll just go for it, because otherwise I'm dead. Superb play, of course, by Voldemar in that game. This game, struggling a little bit to keep away from Team Secret. Mowgli with the Force Accord will bring in Kensick. Quibble misses, though. He's able to afterburn away. His 8-second cooldown there, though. And it means as this Kraken pushes in, Team Secret can be ever so slightly more aggressive.
Force Accord is up in another 6 seconds. We have Contraption and Stormcrown on Mowgli right now. You have to just, like, go. If you're Snow Avalanche, you just have to go. You can't play around here.
Force Accord onto Bastion. The Gauntlet comes down. It's blocked again.
That's actually fine, though. Like, it's not ideal, but it's fine, because Waldemar is getting good poke down.
That he is. The Kraken's down to half, but the first crystal turret will fall. Kavalifar, here comes the Dragon's Breath. They're looking for that Adagio.
Quibble!
Great quibble from Mowgli, and now Voldemort has to retreat. So low energy on him. Bastion trying to fight off Palmator off towards the side. Death from above comes down. The Kraken's still pushing in for that Vayne Crystal turret. There is the Force to Cord onto Kentistic once again. The turret will fall, and Palmator is just going to turn his attention to the crystal. That's all he wants. He wants the crystals. He wants the opals. He wants game 5. Team Secret are going to take it to the final game of the series. They are still undefeated in series here at the Light Championships, and they're trying to take it to the final game.
Look at the looks of relief on Team Secret's face. Yes, that was a fairly convincing game from them, but that doesn't stop you in the moment from feeling like things could collapse at any moment. And after the series they've had, after the tournament they've had, compared to previous tournaments, this has been so difficult for Team Secret. You know, Mouse Sports put up a huge fight yesterday. Then you've got...
Probably end up taking this even before seeing the draft, because I think it's going to resolve here. They've definitely been playing a lot in this situation. The pressure is high. I think they may be able to pull it out. We do see Avalanche go with the Sam ban. This is what they've done the entire time in this series, and then Adagio on the return.
Yeah, the Team Secret not going to be opting to go for the leave open Adagio Lyra, let their opponents have one, take the other. Instead, it's going to be Avalanche able to take this Lyra, but you have to wonder, Secret, they obviously know that it's a very high probability of this Lyra pick going through. They very likely have a plan to deal with it.
Yeah, I would say so. We definitely do see the Lance, the Samuel, the Adagio, the Lyra almost always kind of in that first 4 rotation. But Team Secret does have the ability to pick up Finn here if they want to go fishing again for the last game. It does look like they do. And Sky. So if it worked before...
for a Grand Slam.
Yeah, that's right. If it worked before, why fix it? The real question will just be their counter pick, which I'm sure they're happy waiting to see the rest of Avalanche's draft before they decided that.
Yeah, it's not quite going to be the same thing because of the Adagio being banned away, so they'll have to make some sort of change here, but as you mentioned, it all depends on what Avalanche picks, and here comes a Kashka.
This is pretty risky for Game 5 of the finals, considering that you can see Finn and Sky. These are later game scaling.
I don't like this.
This is the last pick coming out of Avalanche to see what they decide is going to be with the Kashka and Lyra. Hovering the Kestrel, making us all wait in anticipation.
I really don't like this at all from Snow Avalanche. I have to be completely honest. You have this Sky. You've seen Palmator go off on this Sky as a carry, and you pick a team of 3 heroes that are all going to get melted very quickly because they have very low health bars, and you're not going to have the ability to just blow up the Sky. And a Rona for the last pick. Oh my goodness, Team Secret and Snow Avalanche pulling out all this.
The draft, you mentioned it, and Bacon mentioned it, and I feel like a lot of people are thinking it. It's a bit weird from Avalanche, right? Like, you have Lance up. You can go Lyra, Lance into Sky, and you don't? That's kind of crazy to me. That said, I'm also kind of surprised that we see a Rona pick. Like, Rona into Lyra is bold. That's really, really bold, because you've got 2 dashes that can get canceled out by Bright Bulwark. You've already got Sky, who's going to be struggling with that. It's not as if... I mean, maybe this is to deal with Kashka jumping on them. That is the strength, because
Rona does a lot of damage for how tanky she can build. Already we see a trade here into Bastion, Palmator putting the damage down, actually going for the Crystal Sky this time instead of Weapon.
I think his Crystal Sky is a little bit better than his Weapon Sky.
Definitely, yeah.
Like, that's my personal opinion on it, but I feel like also in this situation, 2 for 2 in the grand finals, when you're looking at your 4th title, you play the thing you're comfortable with. And that's what Palmator has been playing for seasons now.
Yeah. We talked to Kavalifar about this before, actually. His pocket Rona. He's brought it out once before in this championships. They said they could play it into anything but Sky, and by taking the Sky away, of course, it allows them to pick it up. It has the strength in the fact that it can trade pretty effectively into anyone and doesn't really struggle too much, but I love this from Snow Avalanche. What we've seen time after time is Secret going for the early turrets, and now Snow Avalanche are looking for that pressure on the turrets to see if they can take those down.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense to jump in there. It's hard to lock Kentusik down, at least this early on, until Mowgli maybe gets the overdrive on Quibble, for example. So he's able to just juke around the turret and be kind of a nuisance on the back lines. It's also making Kavalifar's life a little bit difficult. If he's not in the straight-up 1 versus 1, I think some of that lane Rona pressure disappears.
Especially into something like a Lyra, whose auto attacks, such long range, such powerful ability to harass down the enemy lane, and Mowgli quibbles the minions. take that to the face. Sometimes, you know, you get it arguments with little minions. Sometimes, you know, they just can't fight up against you properly, so you have to quibble them.
Put them in their place.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I want to touch on here real quick before we get into the meat of the game, because we're still just kicking things off, I would have preferred to see Lyra banned and let Adagio through. Lyra shuts down the Rona to a certain extent, and the Sky to a certain extent.
Right bulwark is incredibly powerful.
I don't know if Adagio does it quite the same way.
The risk with Adagio is...
Burst,
firstly. Secondly, you can run Adagio lane, have Kestrel in the jungle, and have that really powerful agent of Wrath onto Kestrel, who gives weapon power, gives you a huge damage spike, you get long-range damage as well. I think Adagio would really, really shut down Rona in the laning phase, in all honesty, because of that range. It would be so difficult to actually stick onto the Adagio, because if you get close to him, Gift of Fires himself, you start to take burn damage, he pops the agent of Wrath, you start to take extra damage, he gets energy back. It's an incredible, difficult laning matchup.
Yeah, that is a fair point. Let's just keep our eyes on how Bastion's doing on this Lyra, whether or not it's effective at shutting down Kvalifar and Palmatoro the way that I expect it could be. That's the real saving grace for Avalanche. Koshka jumping in here, looking for some damage.
And it's going to take some pain as well from that turret. Going to have to back away. Palmatoro doing a great job on that Sky to put that forward barrage down. We've only seen a couple of Koshkas this tournament. Hasn't worked out too well thus far. I think it's got a 0% win rate if I remember correctly.
It works really nicely with the Lyra, though, kind of like a Kroll. Whenever you have something that frontlines and just jumps in, having that speed boost and the additional heal to help can be very, very useful. I do think as well that the pressure early is going to stop Kvalifar from getting to the point at which he can do Rona things, right? Like Rona needs like a Serpent's Mask. Once you have a Serpent's Mask, then your Red Mist becomes ridiculously good if you get it on 1 or even 2 people. But up until that point, it's somewhat mediocre, if I'm honest. So if Contusic can keep applying pressure, I think maybe they can stop Team Secret from getting any early advantages, which would be massive. We'll have to see how Avalanche does that, though. Right now, the focus is very heavily on the lane, which makes sense with Lyra. Mowgli doesn't have a good answer yet.
Yeah, both these teams have been so heavily lane focused as well. Ken6 looking for that turret once again. Kvalifar is going to see if he can get him off it, but Mowgli and Kvalifar realize they need to back away, not making the mistake that Voldemar made in the last game of staying around for too long. First turret has fallen, so now Avalanche only 4 minutes in, playing a great push composition. Mowgli uses the Blight Company to keep himself alive. Palmatoro jumps in from the side as well with that Soya Strike. He actually really saved his Finn's life there.
The evolution of the push comp. It once and almost always has involved Saw, now it involves Koshka.
Who needs Saw?
You know, I think it's interesting. It's worth noting that Contusic, of course, is going to have these augmented attacks that do a lot of damage. He's very hard to lock down, so he can just run around the turret, basically, ring around the Rosie whilst he gets the damage down. And Lyra and, of course, the Kestrel are also quite good at sieging early.
I think there's always a lot of problems when I see Saw. Mowgli's going to take a lot of damage here as Ken6 jumps in. Will be able to back away with the Blight Company. Yeah, when you see Saw, there's lots of up and downs, and it's not as powerful, perhaps, as the Koshka can be. You okay there?
Come on. All right. Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from. I remember Seesaws from my childhood. No, I'm just kidding. I'm talking about Vainglory. So, look, Team Secret, they've already lost a turret. Obviously, that's not a great position to be in. But Kvalifar has now picked up a Serpent's Mask. My concern is that he's a little bit behind on experience, and he needs to hit level 6. That's a big point for Arona in the game.
You need
if
that
he doesn't get it, he can't really do anything when Contusic jumps in, I feel.
I really like this actually from Snow Avalanche, because whenever we've seen Koshkas in the past, it's all been about almost being like Taka, you know, jumping in, assassinating a target, jumping out, trying to get that consistent damage down. And Snow Avalanche have said, we don't want to do that. We'll just take the turret. We'll take the turret down, man. You can't assassinate a machine, I'm just saying. This is not iRobot.
All right.
Okay.
I think I would disagree with you, given that Palmatoro has on Sky many times been assassinated.
But Sky's a human being inside a mech.
You're just being pedantic.
Look, just being correct,
no,
I believe,
Palmatoro.
is what you mean.
Okay.
Palmatoro's gone Frostburn here.
He went Frostburn first. Okay, so yes, this is going to slow down Koshka. The problem is that Koshka has a very low cooldown on Pouncy Fun. Like, really, really low. Obviously, it's not super low right now, but once she puts more ranks into it and also gets those resets, it's going to be crazy. And I think with the movement speed boost that you get, it's enough to kind of mitigate some of that Frostburn.
No, Avalanche want this fight. They're the ones that engage. Blight Company comes down, Team Secret don't want to chase it. And we'll just back away. I mean, is Kvalifar not being level 6 yet? Mowgli not being level 6 yet? There's already Crucible on Bastion as well. He's got that first item.
If Kvalifar was level 6, they could fight. Yeah. They would use the Frostburn to slow people inside of the Red Mist, with that slowing them additionally, and they'd be able to do quite a lot of damage. But until that happens, it's just not going to work out. These fights don't go Team Secret's way. Kvalifar's less than halfway there.
Wait.
Ooh, Bash.
Halfway there. Bastion's going to take a lot of pain. There's the Quibble as well. Fountain has been used. Yummy Catnip Frenzy onto Palmatoro. He's the target. The Glimmer Shot off. The Glimmer Shot will take him down. Palmer's dead. And Kvalifar already have to retreat. Mowgli now going to be the target once again. Lands a Quibble, but he'll get fallen as well. One shot, one kill. Kvalifar dodges it, but here comes Kentasik. Not going to take him out. Fall to the turrets. No Avalanche Trader, 1 for 2. Are they going to push it towards the turret once again? Kvalifar now 6 has that red mist, but you can't stay near Voldemar and Bastion for too long.
Wow. I mean, that was very close. Kentusik, he did go too deep. Let's be real. That was way too far between 2 turrets. You're going to get attacked by those. Best case scenario, he trades there. But you've got to admire the great one-shot out of Waldemar, the great bait by Bastion. You know, he did set up a good opportunity for his team to fight. And also Kentusik with the Shatter Glass. What was that damage onto Palmatoro? Palmatoro just disappeared.
It's absolutely huge. If you get that Yummy Catnip Frenzy down and it's not reflex blocked, and already Palmatoro still does not have that reflex block. He's not got the ability to get out of that skill. There's no Crucible on Mowgli either. They don't have the ability to stop that Yummy Catnip Frenzy landing.
He just picked it up. So Palmatoro for the next fight will be in a better position. Caster Curse, it's just how it goes. It's all good. But that said, you still got to worry about the Bright Bulwarks, the stun coming out of Waldemar, potentially. Good damage out of Palmatoro, though.
Yes, from above will come down. Bastion will get pulled in. Kentasik jumps in, but gets the red mist to the face. Kentasik having to try and scarper his way away. Palmatoro will fall to Voldemar, but it's a 1-for-1 trade. Bastion and Voldemar going to step forward. Kvalifar looking for the spray. He's got the red mist if he wants to go in. Mowgli takes a huge amount of pain. Here's the red mist. Kvalifar trying to heal himself up. The camo's done. 1 shot, 2 shot with the Glimmer Shots. Can he take him down? 1 shot, 1 kill is not enough, but Bastion wants to chase him down. They do get the Principal Arcane, and Voldemar looking for the Glimmer Shot across the wall. Kvalifar needs to try and jump away from this one. 1 shot misses the Glimmer. Voldemar does not anticipate Kvalifar going down. Mowgli just about gets it there. Oh, let's follow it. Here it goes, guys. Is it going to take him down? Can Mowgli... Oh,
Mark's trolling us.
Mark's trolling us.
He, like, began that and then didn't come in. Oh, well.
A bit like Team Secret in a lot of these fights, not able to commit completely onto the Snow Avalanche backline.
Okay, so in that fight, we saw Kvalifar not use his reflex block appropriately at the end.
Yummy Catnip, he gets pulled out of it! Force the call was huge, but Palmatoro's locked up towards the side. Now Kentasik going to take a full forward rush to the face. There's the death from above. Kentasik's dodging around it. Kvalifar takes an active camo, but he could go to the red mist. Serpent's Mask is going to heal him. Not quite enough. Waldemar will take him down. Mowgli looking for something across the wall, not going to get it. Now, that was such an interesting interaction because the Force Accord pulled him out of Yummy Catnip Frenzy, but the stun remained.
Yeah, that stun was big in the fight because if Palmatoro was actually dealing damage during that time, it would have been a big, very different story. Palma not really hitting the reflex block that he needed to there. Again, if he did, imagine how differently the fight goes. But Team Secret, they're showing that if things go well for them, they can win fights, but they're just not getting those things to go well for them. And Snow Avalanche is outplaying them right now.
It's game 5 here, Action Jackson. This is for it. This is for all the potatoes, all the tomatoes, all the whatever you want. It's for all the glory you get from being the EU Live Championships winners, the best in Europe. And Team Secret have held that crown for 3 splits. It's bigger than that, too. It's bigger than that, because either way it goes, you're either dethroning 3-time champions or you're becoming a 4-time champion. That's much bigger than just winning a championship. That is massive. These teams have so much on the line. There's pride, there's the slot at Worlds, there's the prize money, the lion's share of it. Man, you've got to imagine things are becoming so stressful. It's at this point that your team's communication becomes super critical. Their ability to just instinctually react when the engagement happens. Everything comes into question. That communication as well over the roar of the crowd. You can hear it whenever a kill goes down in these fights. You can hear that crowd. And it's so difficult to maintain composure under that degree of pressure. Team Secret have done this. They've been on this position so many times before. They were the 8th seed when they won it last autumn, and now they were the 9th seed, yes, because of Anyway, Team Secret now the 1st seed, being fought up against by Snow Avalanche, who've only come up from the challengers. Snow Avalanche looking for the fight, not going to be able to get onto Mowgli, who does get himself away. Palmatoro's got that Frostburn building up towards his own broken myth. Kvalifar building a little bit of defense here and there. Let's have a look at Voldemar as well. He's got a breaking point and a Sorrow Blade, so that is a very big Kestrel at the moment. There's a lot of upfront damage on Snow, but
especially after, for example, when Eve comes out on Palmatoro, in addition to the fact that Kvalifar has Serpent's Mask, they're going to be able to come back into fights. So I do feel like Snow does need to turn up the heat a little bit. I know it might melt them, but they also want to melt Team Secret right now. I feel like if the game goes too long, Palmatoro, if he gets good reflex blocks at least, can just kite around, make the plays.
It's something we've seen with Koshka's as well. I remember Koshka being 10-0 and them almost losing out the game. In fact, I think that might have been Palmatoro. It was 10-0 on that Koshka. They almost lost out that game. And now it's so difficult. In fact, was that against Mouse where they did lose? I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, Koshka's can get so far ahead and not be able to close out games because of those crucibles, because of those reflex blocks, because of the ability of Team Secret to reposition and start the fight again and restart that fight. Snow Avalanche, they're waiting for it. They've got a bush set up here.
Kvalifar
here. Step forward, but are they going to be able to engage on that Rona? Does just jump away with the into the fray. Glimmer Shot's doing a huge amount of work. No armor on Palmatoro yet, so not able to tank up any of those shots.
That was about 40% of Palmatoro's health from, like, not a full commit out of Snow Avalanche. That was...
double Glimmer, that's all it takes.
Yeah, that was very little effort for very much reward. So right now, Team Secret, I think they keep playing it slow, right? After you test the waters like that, or, I mean, I guess Avalanche were trying to dive in, but Team Secret made it so they couldn't.
A little flurry from them.
Yeah, I feel like you now know where you stand, especially when Katusik, next time you see him on the map, you're going to see that he has a broken myth. Look at the vision coming out of Snow Avalanche. They're like, Team Secret, there's no way you're catching us out. We're not even thinking that is a possibility for a comeback out of you guys. Also got Tyrant's Monocle now on Waldemar. He's on 3 tier 3 items already. Farming so well this game, 20 ahead of Kvalifar. Palmatoro is in a bit of a lead against Katusik, but the damage is all there for Avalanche. They just need to find the positioning. Broken Myth on Palmatoro.
It's big. That is actually really big. If he can reflex block the Yummy Catnip Frenzy, which always is going on him.
It's the key.
He just needs to get a full barrage down. He does a huge amount of pain for it. Ooh, that was good Crucible patience there. Good Crucible discipline, as you say. Not to pop it for that Force Accord. Mowgli wants something out of this, though. They really need to try and get down towards that minion mine. Stop these minions consistently pushing into their base.
You were mentioning Crucible there. I question Mowgli not getting one. It's tough right now. Here's the thing. If Mowgli gets a Crucible, then he's saying, all right, maybe I don't necessarily trust Palmatoro Kvalifar to get the reflex blocks, but I'm guaranteeing
someone's
going to get out of that situation. But it does mean that you can't commit to another item. So it's a really tough call. I admire Mowgli for having this level of trust in his teammates, but I wouldn't take the risk personally. Maybe that's just me. Team Secret, they got to be careful right now. Snow Avalanche, walk forward a little bit. Kvalifar, oh no!
Into the fray on one spot, but he should be okay. He should be able to get out of this one.
Sure.
He's gonna be okay. He's gonna be okay, HA.
God.
You're like an anxious mother.
I'm a ball of nerves right now. This game's ridiculous.
Of your seat. 4 kills to 2, 15 minutes in, but there's been so much more action than that scoreline portrays. I actually think Mowgli's going towards War Treads here. He has got that Dragon Heart, of course, can build that up towards a Crucible.
It's also a good item, right? Like, it makes sense here.
I was about to say, what I like about the Crucible, though, is active camo stuns as well. And we've seen Kvalifar chasing into that active camo time after time and being caught out. Double infusion now on the side of Snow Avalanche. They're looking for the fight. Triple infusion, in fact.
In fact, they're sitting in this bush here, just out of range. This is a weird one for them to sit in. Do they see it?
Yummy Catnip Frenzy is down. Palmatoro gets melted away. Will he survive? He can't get out. He's dead. But Voldemort now the target. Mowgli's going for him. Kvalifar has to jump away. Mowgli, escape. One shot, one kill will connect. That's a dead Finn. The Kraken on the cards here for Snow Avalanche. And Kvalifar is so far away from his team.
This is such a cheeky push to sit in right now. Avalanche completely outwitting Team Secrets. When you have this much vision on your side for your team, you can make plays like this because you know exactly where your opponents are coming from. Team Secret, that has got to feel very scary. Kraken just went down to Avalanche. 2 more kills. Team Secret, this could be it, Sono. We could be witnessing the fall of such a titan of the European scene. Can they come back here? I think it's possible, but it's going to be such an uphill battle.
It's always been a Herculean task to take down Team Secret, but Snow Avalanche are looking for their own rise. It will be the fall of the Titans, but it will be the rise of the Avalanche. Snow Always the bridesmaid, never the bride at these sorts of events. Voldemar's going to take a little bit of damage here. The Kraken's pushing in. Team Secret looking for the defense. Bastion on that turret, pushing it down. Mowgli steps forward once again with the polite company. Kraken about 3/4 HP. Kavalifar needs to back away from this because otherwise Voldemar will take him so low so quickly. The Kraken still pushing in, half HP. Palmatora looking for it as well, seeing if he can get that forward barrage down. There's the force accord. The Crucible comes out. Kentastic off towards the side, looking for the turret. Death from above will Kate down that Kraken quickly, and it's not going to get 2 turrets. This is big for Team Secret, but Kentastic's going to jump in. They take down the turret. Kavalifar's low. Yummy Captain Frenzy.
Good reflex.
That's a great reflex block. And now Team Secret needs to look for the fight because all of Snow are in their base. Mowgli hasn't got the force to caught up. He wants it, but he's not going to get it. And Snow Avalanche get away scot-free.
Avalanche. That was close to being an opportunity for Team Secret to turn around, but they played it perfectly. Avalanche having the discipline we've been talking about this series. At times it's looked lacking, but right now they are on form. They're in the zone. They know how big a deal this would be if they take down Team Secret from challengers to champions. That could be the story of Snow Avalanche this season. Bastion walking forward a little bit here. He knew the minion mine was going down. Avalanche has a very complete picture of what Team Secret's trying to do. They just need to find one more good fight. That's all it would take.
They may be in the zone, but time after time, we've heard Kavalifar say, speaking of opponents they're expected to beat, it's not over until the vein explodes. There's still a crystal turret up here for Team Secret. It's a dangerous zone to be in for Snow Avalanche. Until you take that crystal down, you have to continue to pressure. You have to continue to push. You have to continue to take away the jungle, the objectives, the minion mines, the gold. You have to deny Team Secret any opportunity of getting back into this best of 5.
My biggest concern for Team Secret right now is that I think they need more time than maybe they have. They've been spending a lot of money on infusions and not putting that towards more items. You just see another one from Kavalifar, for example. He's sitting at Serpent's Mask, Breaking Point, and Aegis with the tier 3 boots, but he kind of needs like one more big defensive item to deal with Waldemar, or he needs one more big offensive item if he wants to, play it risky. Palmatoro, he's got Frostburn, Broken Myth, and an infusion. Like, the Aegis is great, but this isn't going to be the kind of damage numbers we are expecting from a Sky at 18 minutes, nearly 19 minutes. Team Secret, oh man, they got to be stressing. I know I am. Snow Avalanche, look at this. Look at what they're trying to do here. They might actually just portal over the wall. It's possible.
They're looking for it. Mowgli's going for the engage, though. There's the bright bulwark. Voldemar off towards the side with the active camo. Yummy Captain connects onto Palmatoro. There's the force to call, though. Palmatoro needs to get out of this one if he's going to survive forward barrage.
Good damage.
Voldemar's coming in from the side. Palma is dead. Kentastic and Voldemar are looking for the kill, but Kentastic might fall. He'll go down as well. Kavalifar needs to revive. It's a double. One kill. Does not connect. Now Voldemar in a 2v1. Kavalifar's going for this. Force to call doesn't connect. Kavalifar, jump in. Be a man, my son. Go for it. No, he's going to leave. He's going to leave. Mowgli will get taken out. Voldemar looking for it, but not going to be able to take anything out of that.
What are you trying to do here?
Team Secret.
Oh my God.
Look at this fight once again, guys.
That was so close. I mean, Palmatoro, the key for me here is that, okay, yes, he didn't actually get the Aegis off in order to survive the Yummy Catnip Frenzy, but he did manage to get some damage down, and in the last couple of fights, he has not really. This let Kavalifar clean up. I do think Mowgli probably should have exited here. Maybe he was just trying to be the sacrificial lamb for Kavalifar. Well, just run up and then towards lane. I mean, you're tanky, right?
The problem is, if you run up and towards lane, you lead him towards Kavalifar.
Kavalifar jumps over the wall.
Yeah, I guess he can, but 2-for-2 trade is the answer on the cards. Kraken, however, is the choice here for Snow Avalanche.
They're too far away.
They're too far away. There's only one crystal. This is going to be a Kraken for Snow Avalanche, and with one final push, they'll look to break the crystal. They'll look to take the game.
I think Team Secret need to try and catch Snow rotating here.
They're going in for it now.
They can't let Kraken get anywhere near their base. They have to fight very far out. The problem is, even if they win a fight, they have 5 turrets to get through. It all comes down to this.
Misses by a mile. Here comes the Yummy Captain. Kavalifar jumps into the middle. The red mist is going to hit onto 2 members. Kentastic, the target gets from above. Kavalifar gets away, though. Palmatoro now fighting up against Kentastic with the full barrage. So much damage. Voldemar's going to try and jump back in. He's in the active camo. Can he get the stun? He can, and Kentastic is stunned up.
Oh,
Kavalifar is dead. The captain has fallen. It's an ace. Snow Avalanche are going to go. They've got the Kraken. They'll take the base. Team Secret dethroned. No longer the reigning champions of Europe. Here's Snow Avalanche. The challengers turned champions. They're going to take the crystal. They're going to take the game. They're going to take it 3-2 over Team Secret. What a game by Snow Avalanche.
Look at how happy they look. Snow Avalanche, a team that wasn't even in the Evil 8 during the first split of the season, managed to move all the way through the Challenger Series into Split 2, into 3rd seed, and then managed to come in through the championships, take down so many incredible teams back to back to back, finalizing it with Team Secret. Sona, this is the end of an era, at least for now. Secret, maybe they come back in the future, but Snow Avalanche, they want to pick up their trophy. Guys, make some noise for your champions.
And it's Team Snow Avalanche taking the win. The confetti comes down. Look at how happy these guys are. Summer Live Championship champions, European champions. They take down Team Secret. Commiserations to them, of course, played an amazing series. But Snow Avalanche are your victors today.